Ladies and gentlemen, what's good, y'all? And Happy New Year! It's Chris Gary, Sandra Benjamin, Jaywolf, and you're tuned in and listening to a very special episode of the We Are Rizin podcast, your source for all things about the Rizin Fighting Federation and Japanese combat sports, and proud of it. Or if we find something to talk about, we'll just, shoot shit. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at ChrisGary92. Andrew is at ABenja1. Jay is at JWolf1. And the show handle is at We Are Rizin Pod, WeAreRizinPod, all in one word. You can check out the show on Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts legally and free of charge. Anywhere you can get them. But other than that, enough with all the hooba-baloo. We're here to talk about the fight card that shook up the world, that made some people want to lose their minds, that made people want to get out their seats and support the Rizin Fighting Federation more often than not. I'm talking about what happened on Thursday morning, at least for us here in the States, New Year's Eve, at the world-famous Saitama Super Arena, and that was Rizin 26. Andrew, what were your thoughts initially going into this event?
Oh, well, I was hyped as fuck. Jay Wolf, I'm guessing you're the same. You're a hype.
Oh yeah. I was hyped as heck too. I mean, and I think it delivered too. And going into it, I saw the Yatsunen's tweet about Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell talking trash on the Japanese MMA and stuff, and that kind of ignorance. Let me tell you guys something. That show, Rizin 26, that's why you want to tune in, okay? Not even mentioning the fact that your UFC number 6 light heavyweight was forged in Epic Rizin, Jiri Prochazka. And then what about one of your heavyweight top teners is from Epic Rizin as well, Rosenstruik. And then also Mano Cape is going to debut in UFC. He's from Epic Rizin. And you know what else? Horiguchi is Mr. Gucci 2 belts. He didn't even lose the Bellator belt. He had to vacate it with class because of an injury, okay? So Japanese MMA is very relevant. And Luke Thomas and that Brian Campbell, they're fake. They're fake news, okay? Don't listen to those type of people. Listen to us, people like us, the fans. That actually, those people, they never tune in. They're the UFC media, all right? And this show, Rizin 26, should tell you guys everything you need to know. That Japanese MMA is awesome, it's relevant, and it kicks ass. So just want to get that little rant out of the way against those people, because that really made me upset. And then the show just delivered excellent, and it was a really good time for everybody that tuned in and watched. I know you guys had fun, just like me.
Indeed. Nobody cares about the UFC regurgitators. We all enjoyed what happened on Thursday morning.
That's right.
Yeah, Christian, I just wanted to get your brief thoughts. What do you think about the whole Luke Thomas, Morning Combat, Brian Campbell thing? I'll be honest, I never heard of Brian Campbell till that whole thing.
Me either.
So what did you think about that whole little kerfuffle?
I mean, all I can say about the whole Luke Thomas, I can say this about Luke Thomas. People may not like him. People may not give him the proper respect because, of course, he was the underling of Ariel Helwani at MMAfighting.com and SB Nation blog. And he basically rubs people the wrong way with some of the words he says, but he knows what he's talking about. As far as this Brian Campbell guy, he's nothing more but, let's just face it. He, like Brendan Schaub, is nothing more but an underling sucking the teats of CBS and Showtime because they still got relevancy or enough stroke to still have a job. I get it. Brian Campbell's a boxing expert, but when it comes down to MMA, especially outside the UFC, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
That's right. Neither does Luke Thomas, to be honest with you. They're UFC media all the way.
I'm just saying, and I hate to get into embrace debate mode because I hate that type of conversation, but still, Brian Campbell is nothing more but the pimple on the ass of the UFC's totem pole. I mean, still, this dude, I mean, when he basically said those things about Kai Asakura and basically just mocked the Japanese fight culture in general, it made people really wish he was in that ring with Shibatar getting his ass handed to him. I mean, hell, we're gonna have a lot to say about Shibatar later, but still, point of the matter is, UFC regurgitators like Brian Campbell, they don't really need to say anything about Japanese MMA if they can't show the proper respect for it. And I don't really give I don't really give a damn if he still has me blocked. I mean, still, the point of the matter is, he's a UFC regurgitator who's nothing more but a shill for the Showtime and CBS regime, of which he can't even talk about his own promotion. Bellator.
That's right. And the Showtime and them CBS, they're Viacom, correct? Viacom owns Bellator. CBS. And Horiguchi is a Bellator champ. He's going to be fighting Juan Archuleta for the Bellator title. Okay, so what those Viacom brass should give them a phone call and be like, "What are you guys doing? Talking trash on one of our fighters here and saying it's not relevant. Japanese MMA is not relevant."
Not only that, but basically talking trash on their business partners.
That's right. Much. That's right. And you watch when Horiguchi said he's coming for the Bellator belt next, and then he was talking about eventually going back to the UFC. And you watch when he goes to the UFC, and even when Mano Kate makes his debut, they're going to act like they knew it all along, and they've been watching their whole career and all this stuff, and they're going to pretend like that never happened, where they were talking trash on Japanese MMA. And I hope the fans don't let him get away with it.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. I think I just briefly want to say is, here's the thing. I can, take humor, in stride. I can laugh at like the dumbest jokes, but I was just, when I saw the clip, I was the people that were defending it were saying, that he basically, his whole gimmick, this Mr. Campbell's gimmick is that he doesn't know anything about MMA, and he's kind of like supposed to be like the reflection of the casual viewer. Problem is that basically the humor that came down to basically of, how like somebody in a forum, if it's about a prospect or an unknown MMA fighter, there's always one asshole who types who, that's what it came down to. I'm not going to speak on when he did the whole choppy and talking in an Asian accent thing. If you're offended by that, then that's you can say so. I wasn't as outraged by that, and I can't speak for that as I'm not Asian, so probably I don't have the.
Of course we can. Yeah. Neither one of us are Asian, Andrew.
Yes. So, but I was just thinking, what was so funny about it? I'm trying to I asked it twice on r/MMA for the people that are defending it. What is the humor? What is the setup? What is the payoff? What is the joke here that I am not seeing? Because I can at least appreciate a joke that I don't find funny, but I can understand that it's funny. But there was nothing funny about it.
His joke was probably trying to take Rizin seriously, but ended up seeing it as a joke that it's never going to be as big as the UFC, or it's never going to be the thing in martial arts like how ONE FC hyperboles themselves to be.
I mean, okay, I guess wonderful. I mean, it was just not funny. It just was not a funny joke. And
no, it was offensive. It was offensive and ignorant. And it just,
oh yeah. The ignorance.
I'm so happy that Rizin 26 was a badass show and just made them look ridiculous and just show that their statements were ignorant. And, all the fans that actually tuned in, those are the real MMA experts, not them. We're the real MMA experts, and that show just proved it right there.
Speaking of MMA experts, did you see Ariel Helwani? He promoted Rizin 26 and said, check it out on Fight TV.
Oh yeah, hey, that's okay. I'll forgive that because I appreciate the tweet showing Rizin some love before the event. And it takes big name or big accounts like that, and even, not even Ariel Helwani, like Mac Molly, and he was tweeting about Rizin. He's got 20-something thousand followers, and that's I welcome all that stuff.
John Snowden,
and I love it, and I appreciate it. Go ahead.
John Snowden, EKC Layden, a few people from I think Sherdog, but that's the thing though. I don't get all these major MMA outlets only caring about the Rizin Fight Federation when these big New Year's Eve shows happen, or when a big UFC signing takes place, or even now. And I guess we're gonna learn more about this in the future when they got big shows coming up at big venues like the Tokyo Dome, or big business with Bellator to deal with.
Well, I think it's because it's the end of the year. There's really nothing going on, and so I think every website turns out content, not necessarily stories they want to cover, but just stuff. They always have to turn out something. So come New Year's Eve,
Yeah,
there's
but
nothing.
Andrew, here's the thing. A lot of those same websites already have their year-end
Oh
list.
yeah, oh yeah.
Not a
MMA.
damn one of them,
That's so annoying. I
not
can't stand it when they
not
do
a
that.
single one of them have Rizin on the bill,
Oh, I know. Oh,
except for the World MMA Awards, who barely care about them.
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember MMA Fighting came out with their awards. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Like not even close to like the end of the year. It was 2 weeks ago, from the last day of December, and they awarded I think the Zhang Weili JJ fight as fight of the year. Not saying that Ryzen 26 had a fight of the year. That was a great fight. That fight between those two ladies, but the fact that it was decided already probably beforehand. I think that's just I think it's baffling. It's incredibly baffling. This isn't deep. This isn't some run of
This
your
isn't Deep Pancrase or Shudo
yeah.
or Deep Jewels or anything
That's
like
right.
that. This is
Rizin's a
Rizin.
major league, a big stage.
Yeah.
And they just want to suppress it. That's all it is. But you know what? They can't stop the fun. They can't stop the superior rule set action. And Epic Rizin delivers almost every time. And the casual fan that tunes in is going to have fun, just like the Rizin 26. Anybody that tuned in for the first time, they enjoyed it. I guarantee you that. And that's the thing. They can suppress the UFC media can try to suppress it as long as they want, but they're not. They can't stop it. Okay, they can't stop the fun that is Epic Rizin, and it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger. You guys see the ratings? They scored the second biggest ratings, other than Tenshin versus Mayweather. So that's fantastic. I mean,
Bring that up next.
great.
Yeah, they got a higher rate than last year's Ryzen New Year's Eve show, which I actually thought that was one of the best shows I ever saw, like in MMA in general. That New Year's Eve show.
Ryzen 20, right?
Yeah, Ryzen 20 was I think
Yes.
was legitimately one of the best MMA shows of all time. And this one, yeah, I think this was the highest ratings, and I think it peaked. They said it peaked around the SHIBATAR fight. That's when they got the most amount of people tuning in.
Is that right? Nice.
Yes.
So 7.3 is what I was reading. 7.3%.
We'll talk about Shibatar a little later, but obviously this fight was so jam-packed that we can't just talk about one fight without talking about it all in packs. And
let's just get right into it. Let's start from the first fight and go all the way to the last one. Let's cover every single one because the whole show was great.
There were 16 fights on this card, and each one of them had their fair share of excitement, but unfortunately, there was a mishap in the very first card that wasn't even labeled as an actual fight. It was a special challenge. Two 17-year-old chicks going at it, basically not like high school girls, but like actual fighters.
It was so funny. This fight, the only way to watch it. This fight was only available.
The only way to watch it was either. Go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, sorry. It was available only to watch it on the Rizin live stream platform, which I didn't know that. I was seeing people post results of the fight. I'm like, how are people watching this? Because I'm on live now. And there's nothing. It's just a blank screen. And apparently, I guess some people just kind of just decided to watch the Rizin live stream first, and then that's what happened. It was offered for free, like a what do you call it? Free for all type.
Free prelim.
Yeah, which I thought like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I called it on Rizin's YouTube channel the next day, or however, today or earlier today, which I thought was like, I would have liked to have seen it live now, but unfortunately, while this fight did have a finish and it did happen, officially there is no decision. It's a no contest.
Yeah, point of the matter is, in this dark match, and yes, it is labeled a dark match because, of course, only the people in the arena and the people on Rizin now can see it. and it was later uploaded to YouTube, as you mentioned, Andrew.
Mhm.
Eru Takabayashi made her professional MMA debut after being fast-tracked to being a pro after only 2 weeks of amateur work, fighting Sakura Mori, who is now 3-1 with one no contest. The reason why is because of the fact that Sakura managed to get a first round arm on Eru Takabayashi. However, because Sakura missed weight by a few grams short of a kilo, she she did not get the result she wanted, and the bout's officially a no contest. And now you have to think. Obviously, we ask, are these two rising worthy? They obviously are, but with Sakura missing weight, with her missing weight by a few grams short of a kilogram, I mean, do you want to see her back, or do you think no, she got to follow the rules? She's out of rising.
What do you think, Jay?
I don't know. I didn't get to see it, and I would have liked to, even though that I guess that was a penalty for them missing weight, was that they made the match dark and find her or the part of her purse or whatever. But
The match was gonna be a dark match anyway. So.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Well, was it any good? I haven't seen it yet.
It lasted. It was way too short to really judge here. But I think the bigger question is about Rizen's punishment for Sakura. So not only did she get fined 50% of her purse that went to Takabayashi, she started off a red card. So that means that already she's lost points on a judge's decision, and if it goes to decision and she won, that would be the only way she could win. She could not win on a finish, which I thought was very interesting. I think that was all.
To be honest, I thought she couldn't win. Period.
Oh, I thought it was not a finish that she could win by. Because why would they give her a red card if it doesn't matter in the end, right? Or I guess it would be no contest.
To answer your guys' question, I say just put her back in deep jewels for a fight or two, and then bring her back to Epic Rising. Once she turns 18 or whatever and graduates high school.
I definitely agree with Jay. Definitely, especially with Takabayashi. I don't think somebody should be making, unless you all have a name or like excel in some other sport, you shouldn't be making your debut on a Rizin show. I think you have to, or at least the Tokyo, not the Tokyo, but the Saitama show. That's the biggest show of the year, the New Year's Eve. So I think you got to kind of earn your due, so to speak. So for Takabayashi, 2 or 3 more fights in deep jewels, provided she wins them. Sakura, she already has 3-1 and 1 no contest now. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, give her another chance. Clearly, she is an experienced fighter. But the problem is that if she doesn't make weight again, that's something you don't want to bring that. If she can't do it again, then I guess you either have the option of either never hiring her again or making her go up to straw weights for Rizin.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah,
put him back to deep jewels for a couple of fights, and then bring him back to Epic Rising. It's fine.
What do you think about the punishment, though? Now, in the UFC, we've seen loads of fighters miss weight, and then they win their fight, and they still go up in the rankings, and they're still officially a win, even though the fighter missed weight. What do you think about the punishment for Rizin that the Rizin does for their fighters, Jay? Do you think it's an apt punishment? Do you think it's too much or too little even?
I think it's all right. I mean, I like it. It's better, like you said, in the UFC, the guy misses weight, still wins, moves up in the ranking. That don't happen in Epic Rising. So I guess their punishment is better. So
what do you think, Jay? Do you think it's too much, or do you think it's the appropriate punishment?
Wait a minute, you talking to me or to him?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, you, Christian. Forgot you both have Jay.
Yeah.
Well, you can call me by my middle name, but the point of the matter is, I think the punishment fits the circumstance, the consequence, but it's just not right because obviously these fighters have to have weeks of training camp just to make weight. And then obviously when it comes that time to get on the scale, that's the real battle. But still, you can't really punish your girl for missing a few grams, or I guess in the U.S. cents for weight, a few ounces short of a pound, but still,
He missed it by
I
about
mean,
three
maybe
pounds.
instead, 3 pounds,
One,
really?
yeah, 1.7 kilograms. It's a little over
Oh,
3.5 pounds. So this is getting into Rumble Johnson welterweight territory.
yeah, that's kind of crazy, but still, you can't punish a girl just because she missed 3 pounds. I mean, if she misses weight by 15 pounds, or if she's like Gabby Garcia versus Shinobu Kondori, missing weight by about 30, 40 pounds, then that's when you scorn people. But no, 3 pounds is nothing. I mean, maybe she'll go back to Deep Jewels. Maybe she'll go to another promotion. Well, maybe she'll go to some other MMA promotion in Japan and want to fight on their cards just to boost herself back up to Rizin's good graces. But still, I don't see how you can get punished for missing weight by 3 pounds. That's just ridiculous.
Mm.
Well, there's
Well,
got to be
that's what
some
happens.
kind of punishment. You can't
Also,
just let them get away with it.
also, this is the big leagues. This isn't.
That's
This
right.
is what. It's the big leagues. There's a certain professionalism that comes with it. That comes with fighting on the
True.
show. And not to mention her opponent. Her opponent made weight, and this was a catch weight. This wasn't an atom weight. I think what did they had like this was like 111 pounds, or it was a little bit up from atom weights. I think
It was 112 actually,
112. Yeah.
51 kilograms, 112 pounds.
So this wasn't even. Yeah, so she, this catch weight bout is supposed to be easier on the fighter for weight cuts. This should have been an easy weight cut as opposed to a bad weight cut. If it's a catch weight. Listen, like I said, I'm happy to give her another chance. I'm happy to give her another chance. She's just got to come in weight, or either she goes up in weight to rise as a non-existent strawweight division, or yeah, you just can't be missing weight on this. I like it. I like that it's ruled a no contest. The contract states you come in at this weight. Those are the rules. No one should be rewarded for breaking the rules or breaking the contract. That's just how it is. I'm fine with that. 50% of the purse, I don't know. Okay, that's a little bit much because I'm pretty sure these girls weren't making a lot of money. Let's assume that they're making, I don't know, $3,000 estimate. So then Takabayashi gets half of that and also her purse. Yeah, Takabayashi's got no reason to want to win. She's already going to make more money in this one instance probably than she's ever made in any of her amateur fights. But
True.
yeah, but yeah. If you're going to be in the big leagues, you got to follow by the big league rules.
That's right.
And speaking of big, talking about the next match that we got coming up, as you can see from my background, we got Tsuyoshi Sudario, former sumo, going 2-0 now, 100% finishing rate, beating Minowa Man by it was a leg injury or ankle injury of some kind. If you can see, if you look at his leg, it looks like I don't know if a bone broke or he tore a muscle or something, but it was something serious. You saw that leg kick that Sudario gave, and Minowa Man just went down. It
is kind of crazy. But the point of the matter is, Sudario defeated Minowa Man via first round TKO at 3 minutes 19 seconds due to 3 leg kicks. 3 kicks to the leg, which of course, who knew Sudario could kick, right? And a club and blow. I think it was a soccer kick to the back of the head. Am I right?
No, it was a hammer fist. It was a hammer fist smash.
Oh, yeah, club and blow, hammer fist. Still, point of the matter is, I think we can now say that Sudario is for real, right?
What do you think, Jay? Is Sudario legit now? Is he a legit heavyweight prospect fighter?
I think he's a legit prospect. He's a great. I mean, I can't wait to see him fight again. I want to see him against better competition. Bring in some international heavyweights. I mean, they like I was saying in the intro about, Rosenstruck was originally an Epic Rizin, and before he got poached to the UFC. So I mean, Rizin has ability to find some good fighters. So put him in there with some more good fighters and see what he does. But I'm definitely intrigued to see his performance. And you know what? This fight was really cool because the intro for Epic Rizin 26 brought up that this is the 20th anniversary for the New Year's Eve Japanese MMA extravaganzas. And that hadn't even dawned on me until I seen that intro. So I was getting all kinds of nostalgia feels, and then it goes right into a nostalgic fight with Minimo Man. And, you know, even though he lost, but it was still really cool. Like, filled me with a bunch of nostalgia going right. I wonder if that's why they made the first women's fight a dark match, so they could go from that nostalgia entrance with Lenny Hart and everything right into the Minimo Man fight, a nostalgic fight. So I thought it was really, really good, really fun, and just had all my feels going. The nostalgia feels going in that fight was flowing. And then Sudario just hammer fist smash it. And like you guys were saying, did the leg kick TKO and with the hammer fist smash. It was a pretty good finish, even though, you know, we didn't want to see Minimo Man lose, but it was still fun. I had a good time. It was a good kickoff to the event, I thought.
By the way, I just want to give props to that opening video, opening montage video of just. I'm actually surprised that I think it looks like Sakakibara Dream Factory, the head company that owns Rizin, they still own the Dream footage. I thought that would have been owned by UFC by now.
No, the UFC don't own anything for Dream.
Okay, they own all the Pride footage though. They own all that, but I'm really surprised that somehow that UFC didn't get their hands on the Dream footage. I was really, really surprised about that. But that was oh yes, that was cool. You know, Sudario didn't really say that much after the fight. He said that he wasn't satisfied with how he fought, and because it was too short. He wants to get more ring time, and he wants to fight a foreigner, if possible. If not, he'll fight a Japanese heavyweight next. Minimo Man basically
he already fought a foreigner in his first fight, even though he was nothing more but a Team 3D reject.
Basically, yeah. Minimo Man said that he does not sure about his career, if he's going to continue or not, and he gave his post-fight conference in a wheelchair, and he had to carry it out of the ring by attendants. Jay, I'm going to ask, what do you think about Minimo Man? Not even that he's Rizin worthy. Do you think that he should continue in his career based on, you know, this is his 110th plus fights? Do you think he has it anymore, or does he need to hang it up, as they say?
Well, it's up to him and what his body tells him. I mean, how about put him in a quintet or something with Sakuraba? You know, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff for him to do. If you don't want to retire, you don't have to. So I mean, it's up to the fighter.
Oh, I mean,
I don't mind
in MMA in general, do you think that he should continue, or do you think it's not counting quintet or grappling or anything like that? Do you think he should continue in MMA?
But not going against these giants. I mean, especially don't put him against any young lions, young big heavyweights anymore. I mean, it's like he's just, if he wants to compete, that's fine, but just no more matches with young lions or even, I mean, if he wants to be against a bigger guy, make sure it's like an older, a legend big guy. You know what I mean? And I think it's fine.
But who do you want him to face? Shane Carwin?
No, I don't know. Whoever they want. I mean, it's fine. I mean, if he wants to retire, that's fine too. So it's whatever he wants to. Whatever his body, you know, his body's telling him it's time to retire. If his leg gave out right there, then okay. I mean, like I said, there's still like quintet and all that good stuff. So you don't have to retire if you don't want to. But just no more throw him in there with young lions. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
I remember when Rizin used to do those grappling matches. They haven't done one in a while that I can recall. So, I mean, that'd be cool to see him do a grappling match inside a Rizin ring, if possible.
You know what?
Good idea.
Considering the fact that he incorporates a lot of pro wrestling into his style, who knows? Maybe we can see him go to Pro Wrestling Noah and join Takashi Sugiura and Kazushi Sakuraba there.
Absolutely, absolutely, great idea.
Like a shoot fighting group, like a shoot wrestling type of faction. Basically
joining the Sugiura army, so to speak.
Our friend Daniel Dizubeki, he suggests for Sudario, Shrek Sakine. Speaking of Noah, All Japan, I think he was in, right?
Yeah, he was with All Japan Pro Wrestling. But yeah, I can definitely see Sudario versus Sakine happen, especially because of the freak show element and the fact that they're both big hulking heavyweights, even though Sakine is more hulking than anything, and Sudario is just putting, no disrespect.
Yeah, because let's be honest, we don't know what 2021 is going to be like, especially, Japan's supposed to go under a national emergency, I think this week or next week or something. We don't know how long that's going to last. That's going to probably only, prevent even more foreign fighters from coming in. So if you gotta go to Japan, the ones I could think of, Sudario against Sakine, that'd be a good matchup because let's be honest, Sakine isn't the best, but he's got a record, an okay record. But a win over somebody like that says a lot. Maybe Ryo Okada, if you want to do that.
Are you sure?
I don't know about.
Because either way, he can also face Shoma Shibisai as well.
I think that I think Shibisai could beat Sudario though. I think that's a tough fight. If you want to work on building up Sudario, I don't think that Shibisai is a fight that you want to make at this point.
Either that or one of those moronic Mongolians that fought Shibisai.
Oh yeah, well if you can't bring in the foreigners, you only basically have 3 or 4 people. Maybe Last Samurai Mark Hunt. I don't know what he's doing.
Kiyoshi Kurabara, Samurai Mark Hunt.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like the pool as of now is very small when it comes to Japanese heavyweight.
It was already small to begin with. There's not that many Japanese heavyweights in general.
Well, Lost Court says, what about Mr. Sapp's number? I would have no problem. That's what Inoue told us. Anton Inoue, Sudario's trainer, said that they were hoping to get Bob Sapp, but the restrictions obviously prevented that. I think,
Well, actually, if he still lives in Japan, even though he just came off of, acting a damn fool in the Full Metal Dojo, maybe that can happen.
For Minowa Man, it sucks to see somebody go down like that, especially because this was his first fight in maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. It's
close to 3 years.
So it's, it sucks to see somebody go down like that. Sudario is obviously rising worthy. He'll be back for another fight. Minowa Man, I don't know. It's very hard to say because that was a bad way to go out. That was a really bad way. I want to say, as a fan, I would like to see him back, but also as a fan, I don't want to see him taking major damage from heavyweights like
Basically, you want to see him bow out gracefully. Is that it?
Exactly, yeah. But he did wear the did you see the footage that they showed before the fight? He was like chasing airplanes and like like the train. He said that on commentary, Joe Ferraro and Frank Trigg said that apparently Minowa Man was training for his fight for 24 hours a day. I don't know.
What, 2 weeks?
I guess so. This fight was announced pretty. Was it pretty late? I don't remember. Or was this one of the first fights that they announced?
I think they announced this fight like a few weeks before the show.
And actually, before we move on to the next fight, I just want to get your thoughts overall on the commentary, the English commentary. Jay, what do you think of Frank Trigg and Joe Ferraro coming back?
Well, I liked it, except for because they had Trigg on a remote mic, so the sound quality was bad. But that's not their fault because it was COVID. They couldn't fly in people, so they had to do it like that. But I'll say this, and I say it on that stream because I wanted to be on the stream that everybody else was on, listening to English commentary. But next time that happens again, I'm going to the Japanese stream. I don't care. I would have preferred to have the Rizin Live Japanese stream where they don't have English commentary. It's just the Japanese stream, and it's $50. I'm going to that one next time. I'm not going to deal with the bad sound quality or anything anymore. So, but as far as Trigg commentary, he's good. He's from the he did Pride before. Like I was telling you, he was on the Pride show on Fox Sports West with Jay Glazer, and he did Pride commentary before. So it was good to hear him again.
He also fought in Pride Shudo and in the UFC in his prime.
Yeah, so he's good, and then Joe Ferraro was good too, and I liked it. So it was a sound quality, and like I said, if that happens again, I'm going to the Japanese. I don't care. I'll have LJ. He was doing great with the translations and everything. So that makes me more than happy to do it like that. So If the quality, if the sound
sure
quality,
I'm pretty sure LJ, being a she, wouldn't mind, helping you out when it comes down to the translations on that.
LJ's a she. Oh well, she did a fantastic job on the translations for us. So
I just want to say as well that yeah, I agree. For all, I mean, the content of the commentary was great, but the audio quality on Frank Triggs' end was absolute dog shit. Like, I know we gave Matt Stryker a lot of shit on when he commentated for Rizin, Rizin 21. But my God, like, I don't know if it was audio equipment or the internet connection for Trig, but it sounded terrible. It like I can forgive it for this one time, but it can never happen again because you don't listen. Perception is reality. Rizin, like we said, is a major organization. You don't want shit like that to happen. And actually, I want to also bring up Daniel Dizbecki brings up another point: the stream quality on Live Now. Did anybody have any issues with the stream quality? Because during the what was it, the Icona fight, my stream froze, like hard froze. I had to restart it. Jay, did you have any issues with the?
Yeah, once or twice I had to restart it, but for the most part it was fine. I thought sometimes when it was like starting up, it was a little bit pixelated, but it got the HD and it was running smooth on my computer. Once I closed all the other applications that was going on in the background, just had the Live Now going on, it was running fine. And then you just would have to switch over to the different, they split up into 3 different sections, remember? And after one would end, you have to go switch over to the next one. And it was okay, but like I said, the sound quality for I know that was because of COVID and they couldn't fly them in there, but if that happens again, I'm going to the $50 Japanese stream because that one was mint. And I with LJ's translations and Karev fans translations, it's totally enjoyable for me. So I don't mind at all.
Just gotta say as well, that's the other thing as well that you brought up was a session thing. I was confused at first, and I looked at it like, wait, is this $25 per session? And I think that threw off a lot of people. And I thought it was because, but then like if you went to the page, it would say you bought the thing sessions 1 through 6 for $25, which was like, I bet a lot of people did not buy it because they got confused by that. That was not something.
You're probably right, but they did have a tab that said all 16 fights for $24.99. Yeah. So
Fight doesn't have that. On Fight, it just says you're buying the show for unlimited replays and all that stuff. So Fight, you know what you're getting, but like I think they gotta clarify that on Live Now's end, just so it's not confusing.
Yeah, that was Live Now's deal, not Epic Rizin's. Because on their Rizin Live Japanese stream, they didn't do that section stuff. They was just the whole show straight through. So
yeah, and I don't know any other, I guess, platform that's done something like that. So I was just like, that threw me off at first. Did that throw you off, Christian, as well, by that whole session thing?
Kind of, sort of, but not really. All I just knew was to switch to the next session, I guess.
Okay. Well, that was also confusing because then when one session ended, then you had to go to session 2. But sometimes, like, it wouldn't start up. So, like, I thought, like,
it was like one of those instructional videos back in the day. If you want to see something extra, you have to flip over to the next side or something.
Yeah, it was very. It was, This is our first time. Well, at least my first time on Live Now. Never worked it before. I think overall it was okay on my end, but I think they definitely had to fix something. Like you said, Jay, this was not Ryan's fault because Fight TV I never had an issue. The only time there was ever an issue streaming was was Kyoji versus Tenshin, but that was in the middle of an earthquake tsunami that show was happening.
Yep.
Live. So, but that was only one. But every other Fight TV show has been like perfect, almost perfect video quality. This video quality was pixelated on my HD television that I use. I cast almost all my sports things to. It really did not look that. It was. I don't know. We'll have to see for the next show. I'll give him a pass for this one, but get your shit together Live Now. If that is on your end. But going back to the fights, we're going to talk about the next fight, which you can see right behind me right now, with two debuting Rising Fires. Kazuma Kuramoto defeating Tayo Nakahara
Tayo, the son, Nakahara. But
Yep,
the point
by
is,
TKO.
Kuramoto ups his record to 7-1, knocking out Tayo, who is now 16-9, who just came into this off of years worth of ring rust via first round TKO, ground and pound soccer kick combination. In his post fight speech, Kazuma said, and the only things I could probably get down from this was that he's in Rizin to represent Shudo and tear up the bantamweight division of Rizin.
Nice.
What? So, Jay, this is. I'm gonna guess this is both time. You're seeing both fighters for the first time. What do you think of Kuramoto and Nakahara?
Well, this was my finish of the night. I enjoyed it because Pride Rules, Superior Rule set. It doesn't get much better than that. And that was the way to soccer kick off the 20th anniversary show. I thought I just loved it. So it was definitely my finish of the night. One of them for sure.
The only disappointing thing was they both promised suplexes, and we got 0 suplexes in this fight.
That's all right.
I was gonna have a drinking game.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna have. I was gonna have I had my White Claw out. And I was so excited. Every time there's a suplex in this match, we drink, and I got 0 sips of alcohol. I was very disappointed.
Hey, that's
very disappointing.
You still got to see some superior rule set soccer kicks. So I mean, the Pride rules will make it a little bit sweeter, even though you didn't get to see some suplexes.
I will say this though, that Kuramoto looked fantastic. This is his first. His last fight was a loss to Ryo Okada, and a Shuto, and he looked like a beast in this match. This guy was fast, aggressive. He immediately knocked down Nakahara. He knew exactly what to do. Then he swarmed him and beat the shit out of him basically. What do you think of this fight, Christian?
Oh, I thought Kazuma really took advantage of Tayo's ring rust. Especially considering the fact that Nakahara hadn't fought in forever. Kazuma basically fought for the entire time that Tayo was off. I mean, still, you knew something had to give about that.
Let's see. Kazuma, after this fight, said that his wife was more nervous than him going to this fight, which I thought was funny, and that Kazuhiro Sakamoto taught him the soccer kicks.
Nice. Well, thank you, Sakamoto. Keep teaching that to those Japanese MMA fighters.
And Nakahara said that he needs. By the way, did you see the appearance by Satoru Sayama that they showed in the?
Mean Tiger Mask? Yeah, we've seen it.
Oh yeah. By the way, he looked terrible. That poor guy. He's been through a lot. He looks in horrible shape. He was in a wheelchair. Unfortunately, poor guy. He's not healthy right now. But the reason why he was there is because Nakahara trained at Sayama's dojo, and so I guess he said he was going to do a tiger suplex during this match.
Oh, nice. Well, we'll get next match because I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Because any man that can showcase the Pride rules like that and score a badass soccer kick finish, I can't wait to see him again. Bring him back for the next show.
So Nakahara, would you say is Rizin worthy for another fight?
Yes. Mostly because of the fact that we want to see him destroy more fools, even though obviously with COVID restrictions and international restrictions, who's going to want to face him?
For Kuramoto? Are we talking about or Nakahara? Sorry.
Kuramoto.
Okay, yeah. So, Jay, do you have any fantasy booking that you want to do with Kuramoto? Who do you think he would be a great opponent for him next to climb up the bantamweight rankings?
You know me. When I want to book, just throw him in a Grand Prix and let the Grand Prix do the booking. And that's what I want to see. Throw them all in a Grand Prix.
I'm usually for putting winners with winners and losers with losers. In the case of Kuramoto, I know that Sasaki said he wanted to face Ogiekubo next. I would be interested in seeing Kuramoto versus Ogiekubo. I think it's a very interesting match stylistically.
That'd be a good one. That's a great idea.
I know it's a step up, like it is like 5, 6, 7 steps up from competition, but I think I want to see how those two gel in a fight. Trying
Book
to
it,
think of any.
Sakakibara. Book it.
Trying to think of anybody else. That right now. Christian, who do you think would be a good opponent for Kuramoto?
I would say Ursin Yamamoto, but of course he's taking time off away from fighting to take care of his family. So to be quite honest with you, I just don't know, because if you put him up against somebody like Naoki Inoue or Hiromoto Ogiekubo, that man would get worked.
Well, I definitely not against Inoue. Inoue is #1 contender. I don't think he needs to. He's deserving of a title fight, which we'll be talking about later on. And of course, the problem is now with the lack of foreigners, it's going to be a lot harder now to get applicable talent over.
Well, they said they were going to bring in foreigners next year or this year. They said they were going to start bringing more once the COVID restrictions go away. So,
but they're supposed to be going under a national emergency, state of emergency next week, I believe. And that I don't know if that's going to affect. That could possibly affect the amount of foreigners. It seems like they can bring in a certain amount of foreigners, like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3. But it seems like they have to. They're not. If there's definitely a certain a very little amount that they can bring in. So I'm trying to think. I mean, like, I don't know, like in terms of foreigners for Kuramoto, I'm not so sure right now. I think I think kind of breaking my rule with winners and losers. I'd be maybe another well, actually, for Nakahara, do you think Nakahara is rising worthy? I think you said so, Jay, right?
oh yeah, well sure. I mean, even though he lost, he said he was coming off a long layoff, so give him another chance. Of course, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Good fighter, fighter.
What do you think, Jay? Sorry, Christian. What do you think about it? Nakahara
Again,
coming
I
back?
don't know if Nakahara would be rising worthy, but considering the circumstances, I think you can give him one more fight just to shake off the rust. At least that's what I think.
I think with Nakahara, what you can do is, maybe put him against Seiichiro Ito, who
Say Ichiro
lost.
Ito,
Who beat?
either
Who's
that or
beat?
put him up against, Takafumi Otsuka.
Somebody who lost in their previous fight. So I would definitely put him. I would say maybe against Ito would be good because he lost against Makoto Shinryu.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Seiichiro Ito is a strawweight who normally fights at flyweight. Would you have to force Nakahara to move down to flyweight or have that fight at a catchweight?
I thought he was also at bantamweight now, or he started fighting at bantamweight, or was planning to, because the Shinryu match was at 59 kilograms, right? So that's pretty cool.
But still, I mean, would you much rather have that fight at a catchweight or at flyweight?
Oh yeah, certainly a catchweight. I would definitely say a catchweight. I guess you could also maybe Ersan Yamamoto. I know that you brought him up before, that he's not fighting right now, but if they're always willing to book a Yamamoto, Yamamoto versus Nakahara, I think could be a good match. I don't know about. It would be interesting to see who would lose that one. I would, given where Ersan where his career has gone, versus I just thought of it right now. So Kentaro lost his last match to Kenta Takizawa. If you wanted to hopefully give Kentaro a win, I think you could easily beat Takizawa, because I definitely don't think that Takizawa is in there for the long run.
That would definitely
Not
be a
Takizawa, Nakahara. Excuse me.
That would definitely be a firefight waiting to happen.
But
book it then.
Oh yeah, but Jay, I think you said this best. This was great to see soccer kicks.
Heck
fight.
Yeah! Oh, I loved it.
And but unfortunately, that's all we have to say about this fight, because the next fight is the most important fight of the night, because this fight was absolutely fucking awesome.
To you, but it was damn sure confusing to me. And the reason why it was confusing is because we had to wait until the promotional video ended just to see who it was. And that was and that was the fight between Akitoshi Shibatar Saito And returning for the first time in a Rizin ring in a while, Hiroya Kawabe. No, wait, actually, Hiroya Kawabe, K1 star Hiroya. These two fought to a draw after two grueling rounds in a mixed rules contest, which, of course, fun fact, the fourth time a mixed rules bout has happened on a New Year's Eve fight card in in the Kansai region, Tokyo, Saitama, Osaka. The first fight to go both rounds, but here's the thing though. At the end, they had to look back at this fight, obviously, and they had to, go through the video review and all that. And SHIBATAR, turns out, had Hiroya in a submission, had Hiroya in a guillotine choke. Turns out he won that fight.
No, armbar.
Oh, armbar, yeah. Still, point of the matter is SHIBATAR won the fight via second round submission after two grueling 3-minute rounds. Now, here's the thing. SHIBATAR, as we all know, is not a fighter. He was.
Oh, you could have fooled me. He sure looked like it.
Including exhibitions, obviously now, his record now improves to 8-16-2. Let's think about that for a second. This dude obviously seen fighting as a joke for most of his time doing this. And now he's basically saying, oh, YouTubers are tough. I want to fight more. I want to bet more. I want to bet with Hiroya in a pachinko parlor. But the point of the matter
he definitely put it down for YouTubers because, he dropped Hiroya in the kickboxing round, dropped him twice. I know he had like 30, 40 pounds on whatever it was, but he still dropped the K1 guy twice. And he was checking kicks like a man. He was. I don't know if you saw that one sequence, but he checked 2 or 3 kicks in a row, real checks, not like. And you could tell it. You could tell it got him some pain because he was. He tried to play it off and limp a little bit, but man, he wasn't in there faking it, and he was definitely taking it serious from what I was seeing. And he thoroughly impressed me with them leg kick checks and dropping her and then getting the armbar finish. And I was pissed off because the ref missed the tap, and I thought they were going to rob him of the win. But I was glad they went back and
sorry, Jay, I got to interrupt. The referee did not miss the tap.
Good.
So this referee also as well was in the Miyu Hamasaki fight, and I think Miyu also tapped in that as well at the beginning, and the referee missed that as well. So this referee must have gone to the Cat Stevens or who is that? Cat Stevens? Who's the blind singer? I think it's Cat Stevens, right? Right, Christian? Is that? Oh, yeah, Ray Charles, yeah, Ray Charles School of Wrestling.
Stevie Wonder.
Because he did not see this guy, Stevie Wonder. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, did not see shit. This was like bad. This was bad refereeing from this guy.
Well, maybe he was looking at something. He was probably looking at the faces or something and missed because the tap was on like the bottom of the leg or something. So he could have missed it. It's just referee error is like it's like umpire error in MLB, Major League Baseball. The umpire sometimes misses it, and the ref just sometimes misses it. I guess. I'm just happy that they went back and corrected it and gave SHIBATAR the win because he earned that win. He was in there. He was fighting the K1 guy, eating those checking those leg kicks like a man, going toe to toe, punching. Everything. It was very entertaining. I had a great time. I don't like to disagree with you guys, but I have to disagree with Jay Christian. I liked how they had the X Factor surprise fighter thing. That was pretty cool. And I want to ask you guys something. Is SHIBATAR a pro wrestler, New Japan Pro Wrestling guy or something, or just a YouTuber?
No, he's a YouTuber. But
so he has no pro wrestling experience? Because he was hitting the ropes like a pro wrestler. You see that one?
That was
that
great.
Sequence almost went viral.
Oh, that was
hitting the ropes.
That was so awesome.
Basic professional wrestling experience, I guess. But the few things I can say about this fight is that, for one, that referee was probably distracted looking at something in the crowd. For two, I really didn't like the surprise element of the thing because it basically made the anticipation. It basically made the anticipation of that promotional video, that VTR,
Well,
feel like
here's the thing, Christian.
a movie.
initial speculation was that Peter Ahertz was Mr. X. Yes, that's what the because apparently there were reports of seeing Peter Ahertz in Japan. Even though I thought he lived in Japan, I think maybe, or maybe he was, or maybe he was there as a guest. I have no idea, but apparently that's what people were saying. That probably Peter Ahertz. Nobody thought it was gonna be fucking Hiroya. Actually, I thought it should have been Taiga. Taiga said he wants to do MMA apparently, so this would have been a good time. First round kickboxing, second round MMA.
True.
Though,
but
like
the thing is, and this really surprised me, is that Shibatar drove up the ratings for the show. Obviously, people wanted to see him, but considering the fact that he said YouTubers are tough, and he's
he put it down for YouTubers. I thought,
he made an odd comparison, saying that he was like one half of the Paul brothers, Jake or Logan. I mean, do you see this guy, if he is rising worthy, I guess, as a potential draw?
Heck yeah, bring him back.
Oh hell yeah,
rising worthy. I mean, I was sitting there. What do you guys know? What weight class is he? Is he middleweight or higher?
I think heavyweight or
light heavyweight.
He is a light heavyweight. Oh, so that'd be perfect. Then I brought the suggestion of, you guys remember Shimatov? Shimatov is like the Japanese MMA Twitter fighter, and he would go against Shibatar as the YouTube fighter. YouTube versus JMMA Twitter fighter. YouTube fighter versus Twitter fighter. I think it'd be fantastic.
Now, would you want Shibatar to die in the middle of a ring? Because
I think I would love seeing that fight happen. Book Vitaly Shimatov versus Akitoshi Shibatar Saito. Have that match be one of the main mid-card fights to that of a future Rizin show. It doesn't have to be at the Tokyo Dome, but have that be a big-time mid-card fight for a future Rizin show.
So I also
and also have him call out the Paul brothers, Jake Paul or Logan Paul, whichever one wants to step in the ring with Shibatar and see who's the top YouTuber.
None of those morons, those Paul brothers, who just do stupid shit just to make themselves look famous, especially fight Floyd Mayweather. Neither one of them would be interested because they're busy thinking about wanting to fight Conor McGregor, Ben Askren, Jorge Masvidal, or the aforementioned Floyd Mayweather.
They might want to see who's the toughest YouTube fighter. Shibatar definitely has a shot at being the toughest YouTube fighter out there if the Paul brothers don't want to answer the call.
So, what did you think about them changing the decision during the show? I can't recall that ever happening for a major MMA organization or fighting organization.
I loved it because I loved it because I was upset because I knew I saw them tap and I was like, oh man, they just robbed this guy. They're putting on a great performance and you knew he was all popular and everything. It was going to be a draw, and then they just robbed him of a win like that. But then they went back and fixed it right there in the same show, and I loved it. That made me really happy and enjoy it even more. I was like, man, great job, you guys. Fix the ref error and everything. So I liked it.
By the way, we all agree that Shibatar is absolutely Rizin worthy.
Absolutely, yes. Bring him back.
What about Hiroya now? Hiroya, Taiga. I mean, Taiga won his last fight, but Hiroya, Taiga before his last fight. Tryhard Gym seems to be the crazy bee of kickboxing gyms where they are just having this string of bad luck. I don't know.
Well, you know what? The bad luck don't last forever, so don't give up.
Here's the thing: he got knocked down by a YouTuber. Hiroya is a former K1 champion, and he got knocked down by this.
Yeah, but okay. He was giving up 30. How many pounds is he giving up? 30 pounds, 40 pounds? That's a lot of weight to be giving up. Okay, that transfers the punching power for Shibatar, and I mean, just because he's. They were giving him shit because he was a K1 guy, got dropped by a YouTuber. But I mean, look, he was giving up a lot of weight. That's like 3 or 4 weight classes of weight right there. Okay. And that transfers to a lot of punching power. And if he's caught just a little bit, it's going to drop him. So I mean, people are just being too hard on him because it was a YouTuber. But I mean, that's 30, 40 pounds is a lot of weight. So I don't fault him at all. I mean, I'm just happy he got in there to take the fight, and he was throwing strikes at Shibatar. Those leg kicks he was throwing, those were some. I mean, that impressed me a lot. That Shibatar was checking those like a man, because those are some K1 leg kicks that he was checking. So I mean,
but it was hard for him to really feel those leg kicks through those leopard print tights that he was wearing.
Trust me, he felt them. You saw that one sequence. He took like 3 in a row. They tried to walk a little gingerly on it because those hurt. I'm telling you guys, he was taking some pain for us.
So with Shibatar, do you think he's somebody that you can have on occasionally so that the gimmick doesn't wear out, or like maybe like once every New Year's Eve or something? Or
absolutely. Fine,
either that or for a big tentpole show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, any show you want him on, put him on there. Find any kind of opponent you find for him. It's going to be great. The fans are going to love it. And that's all that really matters is the fans loved it and they had a good time. We all had a good time watching that fight. I mean, and that's all that really matters. So definitely bring him back.
Now, what about Hiroya? Hiroya has lost another fight last year in kickboxing. Again, though, he was fighting somebody who was a higher weight class. And in this one, he was fighting somebody who was a higher weight class, but who's not a pro kickboxer. Do we see Hiroya come back at some point? What do you think, Jay?
Sure. Why not? Sure. I mean, bad luck can't last forever. I mean, just keep at it, keep training, and you never know what the next fight will bring.
Christian, what do you think? Do you bring Hiroya back, presumably to lose again?
Unless it's I mean, I don't know if he'll ever fight Takeru because they're both teammates at Try Hard. I just don't know if you bring back Hiroya for a serious kickboxing bout in Rizin, you would have to bring him back potentially for MMA, right?
I don't know. He pretty much didn't know looked like he knew what the fuck he was doing in the MMA portion of this of the fights. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Well, with Shibatar, do you book him in a kickboxing match or MMA match, or do you do again
MMA fight? Definitely.
Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. MMA fight, mixed rules fight, whatever you guys want to book him in, just book him again. He was a draw, got the second highest ratings next to Mayweather Tenshin. I mean, bring him back, definitely. Whatever you want. MMA, mixed rules, kickboxing, whatever you guys want to do. Just bring him back there and let's have some fun.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not a fan of Hiroya. I think he looked very terrible, both in the kickboxing and the MMA portion of this fight. I don't know if it's Miles or he wasn't taking. I wonder how. I'm just curious to know how they booked this. Did they did they both each know that they're fighting one another, or did they not tell Shibatar? I'm really curious to know how do you contract and book a fight where we don't know who one of the fighters is? Are they keeping it amongst themselves, or that's because you can never do that here. You can never do that in the United States. That would never happen ever. Bellator might try it, but I think they would fail at it. But it's
kind of thinking about the whole Hiroya thing. I mean, he's already fought 3 times in Rizin over the last 5 years, knocking out Riki Nishiyori, losing via knockout to Takuma Konishi, and obviously this fight with Saito. So I guess now he's canon to Rizin fans. He's familiar with him.
But also people were joking that it was a YouTuber versus YouTuber fight because Hiroya also has a YouTube channel as well. So, I mean, here's the thing. I think Hiroya. If you book him again, if he's Rizin worthy, book him against somebody they can get an easy win over, so you can just pad that record up, because he really looked embarrassed. It was embarrassing what they put him through. But listen, you know what? I'm a fan of Shibatar now. I think Shibatar. I think his stock has gone way up. I think next time he fights, I'm going to be tuning in. The rest of the card could be a shit card with 0-0, 1-0. If Shibatar is on the card, I will be there to watch and see what happens.
You know what?
I'll say this. Yeah.
Come to think of it, if you were wanting to fight Shibatar, would you go through with it?
Oh God, yeah! Imagine the subs we get for We All Rizin podcast.
I mean, come to think of it, even though I'm shorter than him by a foot, and I and I'm underweight by him by like 50 pounds, I could probably face off against him. Just
Listen,
give me a few weeks
I'll
to train.
I'll say this. I'll say this about SHIBATAR is that you don't know what you're going to get. And I'll say this: he had more heart and fire than some UFC fighters, some UFC caliber fighters. He you know, even though he's outclassed technically as a kickboxer, you know, I'm pretty sure that guy, the average person who takes a kick from Hiroya goes down and cries.
That's
but
right.
Like,
absolutely.
but SHIBATAR, listen, you know, he got knocked down. He did the. Did you see him do the fake like, oh, I'm knocked out from a like? Remember that was the cute.
He was a
that
showman.
happened
He
during-
was basically like he was basically doing a little Tito Ortiz style grade digging.
Oh yeah, but that happened with the Ian Kudalaba Ankalev match from earlier this year, I think it was, where Kudalaba tried doing that as well. I just thought I thought that was hilarious. Him running the ropes was great.
Oh, I was so in once he hit the ropes. I was like, okay, this guy.
Well, the other cool part was at the beginning when they ran the bell, Hiroya ran to the middle and SHIBATAR just staying there like that.
But
Listen,
the point of the matter is, before we move on, even if it's, you know, him fighting one of us, me specifically, that fight, I mean, anytime SHIBATAR would fight on a Rizin card, it'd be must-see TV, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because you don't know what you're gonna get, and there's times and places for, you know, to see the Inoue, Naoki Inoue's, Yuki Motoya's, Kyoji Horiguchi's. There's times and places for that, but then there's also gotta be time for just weird, goofy shit. I think you Rizin gets that balance of it correctly when they do it. If it's too much goofy, then you know, you kind of, I think it loses its charm after a while, or if it, you know, if it's too serious, you know, if you do too much seriousness, it's like when UFC had CM Punk on there and Mike Jackson. It's like, you know, you've built up your promotion as the number one in the world, and you have these two 0-1, 0-0 fighters fighting each other. So why should we take it seriously?
Yeah, and you know, you bring CM Punk. That's a good point. Since the UFC brought CM Punk in,
being serious,
go ahead.
It's a pro wrestler versus a podcaster / journalist.
Yeah. Sorry, Jay, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, since, you know, UFC brought in CM Punk, pro wrestler, and, you know, that means that Epic Rizin or Bellator, anybody can do whatever they want now. Okay, and even boxing was doing. Had Jake Paul or Logan Paul, whichever one it was, versus Nate Robinson from the NBA. Okay, they were doing freak show fights too. So that means that any other promotion can do whatever they want to get ratings or have fun, whatever. So bring it on. Bring some more of it on. I enjoyed it, and that's all that matters, is having fun.
Well,
Christian, in the interest of
time,
I'm going to take over the next few fights, and you can take over
you
after.
know what? You can go ahead and start talking about the next few fights now, because I know that time is of the essence.
Yeah, so the next fight that happened, as you can see from behind me, was Kana Azakura defeating Ai Shimizu, 3 rounds, 15 minutes, unanimous decision. Azakura is now 18-4, while Ai gets her first loss in her pro career, 5-1 now. I'll be honest, this was a very unimpressive fight, I think, from both of them. Kana,
really?
to me, Kana to me only won because in the third round she managed to turn it around, and I think Ai looked like she was getting tired from doing all the hugging and takedown attempts and all that stuff. Nothing really on the feet really impressed me with either girl. I was actually really disappointed by both of these fighters. I thought we were going to get a much more competitive, much more not even brawling, but just like a much more stronger fight from these two. So Jay, sounds like you like this fight. I know that you had biases going in because Ai is your future wife. Is it Ai or is it Kana?
No. That's Reina.
Oh, Reina. Sorry.
No, but Ai is definitely a cutie, and you know that I was biased. I wanted her to win because Kana had beaten Reina in the GP, but I thought it was a good back and forth match. They were grappling really good, and I was throwing some grounded knees to the dome. I love those. So, I mean, it was, but you're right. It could have been had more action in it, but I thought it was pretty good, and it was a tough fight to score. And sound like Joe Ferraro, the announcer, he was with us saying that it wasn't as one-sided as the unanimous decision made it sound like for Kana. But you guys are right. It probably could have had more action, but I thought it was a pretty okay fight. And, you know, and they had some grounded knees in there, so I was happy. And, and I look cute, and even in the loss. So, and I think what I think Kana should maybe embrace or try to be like a heel, saying like, "Oh, I beat all the hot girls and I take their mans," or something like that. Play at the heel a little bit, saying that she beats all the good-looking girls and she just wins.
What was your impression with both these fighters after this fight?
Me or Jay Christian?
Oh, I'm sorry, Christian. I'm sorry. I keep on doing that. Sorry. Why do you have both of you have to
Okay.
have the same first name?
My
Christian,
impression, and I'm sorry if you can't see me because I'm trying to, cool my back down, but
that's fine. That's fine. Go
my
ahead.
impression is that Kana Asakura wants a title shot. Kana Asakura wants to face off against Ayaka Hamasaki again. Spoiler alert. And, the way how she dominated Ai Shimizu throughout that entire fight, I won't be surprised if Kana Asakura doesn't get that title shot, because she really, really deserves it at this point in her career. Now, as far as Ai Shimizu, this is her first loss. But even she has potential for a title opportunity down the line if she keeps dominating. But obviously, with COVID restrictions, will she have to go down to Deep Jewels again? Would she have to, potentially face also Rans or rookie fighters or something like that? Face off against Sakura Mori? Basically, I wouldn't mind seeing Shimizu getting a title opportunity, but only after Kana gets hers first.
I'll be honest. I don't think that Kana deserves a title shot. She did not look impressive in this fight. I think she fights Hamasaki again. Hamasaki beats her once again, easily. I don't know what you do with her. It's very hard to say because I really don't I think the Miyu, if had Miyu won, I think the Miyu Asakura match would have been a much more interesting fight to book. I think, but Hamasaki is just so dominant that I just can't see Hamasaki being defeated by anybody until she retires. It's going to just be between her. She's going to be the top of the food chain. Now that Ham is gone to one.
How about another Grand Prix? How about another women's Grand Prix?
Oh, I would not be opposed to that. The problem is though is that you're not. I don't know about foreign atom weights. There's going to probably be very little to bring in because of the restrictions.
That's the thing. They were saying one of the Invicta girls was saying she'd be down for a cross promotional title fight with Hamasaki.
It was both Alicia Zapatella and Jillian DeCourcy, who we spoke to before, both of them.
Yeah, well, see, look, they're down to fight in Epic Rising, so bring them over and let's do a Grand Prix again. And hopefully the COVID will be gone by then. They got the vaccine out there now, so hopefully it's in the the final stretches will be gone hopefully by the summer, and they're going to do the Japanese Olympics and everything. So who knows what could happen by the summertime. So I say bring them in and have another women's Grand Prix. Bring some foreigners in and throw them all in there and see what happens.
I think with Kana, the two matches I've always wanted to see with her, with Kana Asakura, are the rematch with Alyssa Garcia, which she lost, Kana, and Sayuri Kondo. Those are the only two people she lost to before she lost to Hamasaki in Rizin. So I would like. I don't know what Alyssa Garcia is doing now. That's a rematch I would like to see. And I know that Sayuri is doing the Stardom thing right now. I don't know if she's completely done with MMA at this point. If she isn't, listen, I'd be interested to see that match again. I don't think that Kondo showed enough to say, oh yes, I deserve a title shot. Her win was lackluster. It was kind of just like a win because she happened to do a little bit more. Nothing that made me say that's a fight I want to see again. With I versus Miyu, I think is an interesting match to make.
There you go. Hot girl match.
I think the problem with I also, I know that Christian, you mentioned about her going back to Deep. I think that I is too big for Deep now. I think she's too good for Deep. I think she beats 10 out of the 10 the competition there. So that's why she's got to stay with Rizin. I don't know about camp wise. They still said she was from Crazy Bee in her camp on the eFight Japanese results page. So I don't know, maybe she gets a new camp or something after this, and then she comes back from that that win. Other than that, yeah, I was really not impressed by this fight. Unfortunately, it was my least favorite fight of the night, I would say.
I see.
And your last thoughts?
Want to go talk about the next fight?
Oh yeah, let's talk on the next fight because this fight was much.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Were you about to say something, Jay?
No, just saying. She's cute and she was throwing some grounded knees, so she has some ability to use a superior rule set. So I say bring her back for some more fights. I mean, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Put her in there with like you were saying with Miyu, or how about is she in Reina's weight class? Throw in there with Reina.
Oh yeah,
has some hot girl fights.
Yeah, Reina's still fighting at atom weight. I think. I don't know. She hasn't really.
Super atom weight.
Yeah, super atom weights. But I don't know if she's sticking around with MMA at this point or not. Rizin said they tried to book her for this fight, but book her for this show, but they couldn't. So I don't know what Reina's status is.
Okay.
Truthfully, at this point. From Code May Day. Hold on, before we move on, Code May Day. He says that Siri Kondo's in Stardom now, which obviously probably doesn't allow for Kana to have that match for. And he says that he thinks that I moved to AACC, which is Hamasaki's. That's where I think Hamasaki trains out of. That's interesting.
Oh, nice.
That's
get her some skills in.
That's a fucking good gym. If that's where she moved to. But the next fight we got to talk about. This fight was awesome. The return of Ulka Sasaki getting a decision win over Kenta Takizawa. Sasaki 23-8 now, 11-7. Bantamweight match this was. And my question to you, Jay, is what do you think of Sasaki returning after over a year from a broken jaw? How do you think
he did great? He did great. His walkout was fantastic, and then in the fight, he overcame the mental aspect of having a broken jaw, I guess, and got the unanimous decision win. I thought he did a good job.
Christian, what do you think?
Oh, what I thought about it? Yeah, when it came down to Sasaki, I thought that he really did his best for somebody that was just coming off of a 14-month layoff.
Oh, he looked fantastic. He it looked like he was trying to test his chin as well. He tried to take a few punches from Takizawa, and as soon as he saw that Takizawa's punches weren't affecting him, he was like, okay, I could be a little bit more risky. He did almost. Did you see him? He had the rear naked choke in Takizawa, or he had the body lock, and it looked like he wasn't trying to finish Takizawa because he looked like he could have finished him, but he wasn't. And I know that Trig said that in commentary, like, why isn't he finishing him? But you gotta give Takizawa credit. Also, he had a really gnarly neck crank on Takizawa in the third round, I believe it was, and he almost could have finished him. But Sasaki is a tough guy, and he was able to survive that neck crank.
He toughed it out of that. That was an incredible sequence.
Sasaki did say he wants to face Ogiekubo next. I'm all for that. I think that's an interesting matchup to make.
Book it.
What do you think, Christian? Do you think that's an interesting match to make, Sasaki versus Ogiekubo?
Yes, I do, because of the fact that obviously you got Ogiekubo, who just came off of a title opportunity. You got Sasaki, who wants to have a title opportunity. I won't be surprised if those two end up facing off against one another pretty soon down the line.
Now the question is, what about Takizawa? He's already fought in Rizin 3 times. He beat Kintaro by split decision. He lost to Ogiekubo by decision. Now he loses to Sasaki. What do you do with Takizawa at this point?
Probably send him back to Pancrase, or is he too big for Pancrase at this point?
I don't know, Jay. What do you think? Should he go back to Pancrase and get a few wins there, or what do you do with him if you want to keep him Rizin?
Sure. I mean, send him back to Pancrase, get him a few wins, or he's got one split decision win in Rizin, so bring him back and match him up whoever you want to match him up with. I guess. I mean, it's whatever you guys want to do. I'm happy either way. So as long as they just tell them to use a superior rule set and throw some stomps. I want to see a stomp KO in the new era.
If you want to do a loser versus loser match, I definitely think that Takizawa versus Nakahara is an interesting match to make.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Book it. There you go.
Not to mention they also have the pro wrestling background because Nakahara trains at Satoru Sayama Dojo, and then Takizawa trains with Kenta from New Japan.
Oh, there you go. You can make it a crossover fight with pro wrestling. Fantastic. Book it. I love it. I love it.
You know what? That would be cool. That would be cool. But even though Satoru Sayama is in rough shape, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to actually, make that pro wrestling crossover mean something, like have Satoru Sayama in Kazuma Kuramoto's corner and have Kenta Takizawa, have Kenta Kobayashi, aka just Kenta, in Takizawa's corner.
I'll say this: Takizawa's tough, and I like that about him. He gets into he also has flashes of greatness as a fighter. Like he'll do some great things, like when he knocked down Ogiekubo, well, I think it was a kick in their fight. In this fight, he had the neck crank. But the problem is that he just seems to he's green. He has toughness that he can survive a long fight. But the problem is, I don't think he has the fight IQ that he should have at this point. I think with a lot more training, he could become a much more a higher level fighter with this organization, Rizin. And I think that the great thing about him is that I think he will get better with this with the more fights that he's booked. Christian, though, I'm going to call you out though. You picked Takizawa to win for this match because you based it on Sasaki's jaw. So I'm curious to know, were you surprised that Sasaki?
So I guess you're trying to call me the grumbling buffoon or something?
Or did you think that Sasaki's jaw? What do you think that he was able to take all those punches? I was really surprised that that was not a factor in this match at all.
I mean, yeah, I was surprised about that too. To be quite honest with you, I mean, I'm surprised that he didn't really have any fragility in that jaw.
Oh yeah, me too. But with that being said, we'll move on to the next fight. And this fight was incredibly, awesome. Let me get there we are. With that, we got another kickboxing fight. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic right now. Oh wait, no, this is right. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We got another kickboxing fight, but this one with the elbows allowed, where Yoshinari Nadaka, aka Nadaka Iwa Sports, for you people in Thailand, defeated Pet Molly.
Pet Jarlon beat.
PP, we'll call him for this. We'll call him PP. 3 knockdowns, by the way. Round 1, 2 minutes 20 seconds. Jay, how awesome is Yoshinari?
It was absolutely awesome. I remember when we were talking about this pre-fight. We were kind of, because they were so light and so small, we were like wondering if it was going to bring the action. Boy, those guys, those small guys, they sure brought the action. And I was pretty excited seeing him with throwing them combinations where he would throw an elbow in there with the combinations as well, and to drop them for the 3 knockdowns. It was great finish. And I'm sure all the J Kick fans liked that one too.
Oh yeah, Fat Molly had nothing on Nadaka. And by the way, if you also watch this fight versus the first fight that he had in Rizin, Nadaka, he fought this fight way differently. Remember in the first fight, he was doing all those takedowns, tripping the guy, Yushin. And this one, he didn't do that. It was all basically just, I'm going to elbow Pet Molly right in the face. And hey, that it worked. It worked. Christian, what do you think of this performance?
It was great.
What do you think of this performance? What do you think of this performance by Nadaka?
Nadaka was just straight up wrecking Pet Malai, because obviously, as we know, Pet Malai is a much more experienced fighter compared to Nadaka, but Nadaka made him feel like he was just there for a visit.
Of course, the issue, after this fight, Nadaka said that he wants to face Tenshin. I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think it should happen, being because of the huge weight disparity, I'll say. I mean, what do you think, Jay?
The fact that Nadaka would have to eat a lot in order to boost himself up.
What do you think, Jay? Would you ever unironically like to watch Tenshin versus Nadaka?
Sure. I mean, I'm not opposed to super fights for different weight classes. I mean, that's fine with me as long. I think it'd be fun too, as long as Nadaka wants it and understands that he's giving up a lot of weight. Then yeah, go ahead, book it. Why not? I mean, there's right now the big super fight in J Kick is Tenshin versus Takeru. And isn't Tenshin giving up weight to Takeru? Is Takeru bigger, or is Tenshin the bigger one?
I think they're about the same. I think they're about the same size.
They're about the same size? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but if Nadaka wants to move up in weight and face Tenshin, then let him do it. That'd be another super fight. They can have more than one super fight. Nothing wrong with that, I think. Just as long as he understands that, look, hey, he's giving up weight, and we're not going to try and make Tenshin cut a bunch of weight to face him. So as long as they get that, then that's fine.
I hope the fight doesn't happen. That's all I'll say.
Oh,
I hope it never happens.
Why, you don't want to see Tanaka lose?
No, I don't. I don't want his momentum to be ruined at all. I
don't think it ruined his momentum. Did it ruin Tenshin's momentum when Mayweather beat him and he was giving up a lot of weight to Mayweather?
I think that's a little bit different. I think because I think there's just something different about that versus two really great competitors at their respective weight classes. There was it's almost that they're both too good for it to be too much of a freak show, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
It like they're like, if it was, I don't know how to describe it. I don't think it would work. How
much weight would Nadaka be giving up to Tenshin? Would it be more than 20 pounds?
At least 20 pounds, probably more, maybe 25 even.
Ooh, geez. Yeah. Okay. I can see why you guys wouldn't want to see that then. You don't want to get up that much weight to a guy like Tenshin.
By the way, I just want to clarify, Code Mayday does say that Takeru is slightly bigger than Tenshin. I thought they were the same weight class for some reason, but thank you for clarifying that, CMD. Problem is, though, with someone like Yoshinari, is that the weight class is so low, there's not a lot of competitors or like good talent at that weight class. You have to bring people in from Thailand like they had to do with this fight. I don't know who else. There's really no names I could honestly think of at this point that would be comparable competition. Until he goes.
Throw him in a Grand Prix then. Let's see a Grand Prix with them.
With 116 pounders.
Heck yeah! I mean, I was impressed. Remember the pre-fight? I was thinking, okay, these guys are tiny. They're not going to be able to bring a lot of action, and so. But boy, was I wrong. The Nadaka, he sure brought the action and got a finish and everything. So, heck yeah, do a Grand Prix and bring in some different guys and see if you can build some up, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we definitely know that Nadaka will be back. He's definitely rising worthy. He's awesome. As always, he's finished his 2 fights brutally, with the elbows and all that stuff. What about this? What about Pet Molly? Do you bring him back, Jay? Is he rising worthy?
I mean, if you need a fighter, sure. I mean, but so I'm always for giving guys more chances, even if I don't like seeing them, just cut like the UFC cuts a guy after a loss and people are like, oh, he's a bum now, blah blah. No, I'm totally opposite of that. It's like, if you want to give him another chance, you got to fight for him. Go ahead, give him another chance. If not, send him back to Thailand to get some more wins and then bring him back. It's whatever you guys want to do. I'm happy with. So.
What do you think, Christian? You bring back Pet Molly for another fight?
I don't know if you bring back Pet Molly because maybe this was just a one and done fight for him. Who knows? But still, if the potential is there, if the opportunity is there, bring him back. Make sure he doesn't go back to Thailand empty-handed.
Well, I guess you could have him face the guy that Nadaka beat it previously when Nadaka made his debut, Yushin.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Good
That's
idea.
an easy fight to make.
Have that basically be a pure Thai fight in Osaka.
By the way, Code Mayday says that Nadaka, he thinks that Nadaka is more accomplished than Tenshin was at that age. That's very interesting.
Well, there you go. See, already building into the super fight if it happens.
That's true. Already building that shit up. Actually, here's the thing, though. Before we go on, Pet Molly did say that he wanted to rematch Nadaka. at the press conference, post-fight press conference.
Well,
Nope.
he got pretty much scrubbed up. So I mean, he's got to get some more wins first before he goes and
Oh,
gets a rematch against the Daka.
oh,
So
absolutely.
that's my
You know,
opinion.
from his like 100 and what was it? I forgot what his record was, but they like said it was like 100 and plus or something fights or something that he had,
Oh, was
or
it?
70. It was like something insane. It was like an insane amount of fights that a 19-year-old should not have. But moving on to the next fight, and this will be interesting to talk about because we
And
had a return.
Andrew, do you want to talk about this next fight before we go on and I take over the reins for the next few fights?
Yeah, sure. In this one, we had the
Try and get
return.
this done quick. Yeah, I want
We
to
had,
try and get this done quick before the top of the hour.
yeah, we had the return of Hideo Tokoro, defeating the debuting Shinobu Ota, the silver medalist from the Rio Olympics in Greco-Roman wrestling, from 2016, I think that was. Tokoro now goes 35-30. Holy shit, Shinobu Ota 0-1. By round, Tokoro got his trademark armbar, round 2, 245. And he was going through that armbar through most of the fight. And Ota should have recognized that Tokoro is maybe the master of the armbar. And you know, this is what happens when we all predicted that Tokoro was going to win. That it's just how do you prepare for a guy who's that good at grappling and submission, and you really can't. You can't do that in about a year or a year and a half, or however long that Ota's been fighting for. This was also Tokoro's return to MMA since his last fight, which I think was 2017. I think that was. Let me double check what year that. Yeah, 2017. So, guys, what do you think? Jay, Tokoro, what do you think of how he did in this fight?
Well, we knew that Ota was overmatched by Tokoro's veteranship, the whole time. So it was kind of predictable, but I was impressed with Ota. Okay. He was doing rampage slams to get out of, arm bars and stuff. I love that. And then you see when Tokoro was on his back, he was wanting to throw stomps. I could read his mind, and I could feel him through the screen wanting to throw stomp. He even threw one stomp on one of the sequences where Tokoro was on his back. He just needs to get better technique with those stomps. Like have him go train with Reina. Reina has a beautiful stomp technique, and that's all Ota needs. Just do some more training. I definitely want to see him back. I don't want him to be discouraged by losing to a veteran like Tokoro. So I mean, he showed great potential, I thought, doing those rampage slams and wanting to do superior rule set and throw some flying stomps. I mean, he threw one, but I could just see him when I could feel it through the screen that he was wanting to throw more stomps. He just didn't have the right technique. So I mean, just get him in the training room, keep him training MMA, and send Reina over there to show him how to do a nice flying stomp. And he's gonna be a problem for people in his weight class. Even though he lost, predictably to Tokoro, I still think he's one of the ones I think is definitely worthy to come back and have some more rising. And don't overmatch him this time. Tokoro was obviously it was overmatched for him for a guy's debut. So match him up with guys that are more, just not as accomplished, I guess would be the way to say it. So. And I think it's going to be he's going to be an exciting fighter.
You basically match him up against a guy like Ren Hiromoto, who we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, just guys that are fresh into the fight game, just like he is. More evenly matched, not against a veteran like Tokoro that's obviously going to overmatch him. So, but Ota definitely impressed. I was loving them rampage slams. And I loved how he was throwing the flying stomp, and how I could feel that he was wanting to throw more of those. So I definitely am excited to see him back in the Rizin ring.
So Christian, I'm going to ask you that same question. Ota, do you bring him back and do what Jay said, put up against somebody who's obviously not at a level of like Tokoro?
Yeah, you can bring him back to fight against somebody like Ren Hiromoto. Sorry, I just sneezed. But still, I think you can bring him back for a few gimme fights. But unfortunately, obviously, with the pandemic and the restrictions, I mean, you can't match him up against rookies. You can only match him up against a guy like Ren Hiromoto, because I
I think
think
all,
that would be a perfect fight for them. I know you don't like matching winners and winners and losers, but still, that would be a perfect fight because
I'll
it would
say this.
basically show, you know, MMA neophytes with experience in
I
other
think
combat sports.
I think if you I think if you want to put up against somebody who has maybe less MMA experience, I would have no problem putting Ota against Ursan. I think
Oh, there you go.
that's
Good idea.
potential.
Are you
I
sure?
think
Are you really sure, Andrew? Just because they're both wrestlers doesn't mean they have the same type of style.
well, I'll say this: Ota doesn't have to be worried about being submitted by Ursan, and I think the skill. We've seen where Ursan is. The what when has that where Ursan is at this point, and Ursan he wins some fights, but then he'll lose to other. He'll win. He doesn't. He's not a complete MMA fighter, so I think you can maybe get away with that. I think Ota does have a chance to win that. Um,
I think that's a good idea
Probably.
too.
Now, the question with Tokuro, I don't know if Tokuro is back to MMA. If this is was this a one-time gig or something? If he is, who would you put him up against, Jay? Now, before you answer that, Code Mayday says Tokuro versus Motoya.
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea right there. Two
What do you think
submission
about that?
guys. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, Christian. What do you think about that? Tokuro versus Motoya?
As in Yuki Motoya?
Yes.
Yeah, let that fight happen.
I don't. But again, I don't know if the Tokuro's in this for the long term. This is his one MMA fight for many years. I don't know why. I think he was doing quintets, all that stuff. I don't think he ever commented why he took this break. Not that I could find, but I mean, if he's here, I'm glad that he's back. He's. I don't know if he's in here for the long run or is just here to do the occasional fight. But regardless, I'm glad that he came back, was able to get a win. It was a very heartwarming moment, especially because he didn't do so well in his last MMA fight, so it felt good. He gets a win on New Year's Eve. He dedicated this fight to his friend who died from leukemia, which I mistakenly put down as suicide because I'm an idiot and I totally forgot to take down my notes while watching the Rise of Confessions video. But
yeah, we kind of missed the boat on that.
Yeah, but listen, he got a win for his friend who he dedicated this fight to, and it was happy. Ota, lost to a guy who was way above his pay grade, but I think Ota is definitely worthy of coming back, and
Absolutely.
presuming presuming he doesn't go like 0-6 or something, but I think give him another chance. Give him another chance. He's a name guy. He definitely brings interest, being a silver medalist from the Olympics. And
That's right, and let him compete in the Olympics this year too. Is he going for the Olympics this year? Is he going to compete in the Olympics again?
Well, no? I think he's going to part of the Japanese national team for wrestling.
Okay, well there you go. Have him be in the Olympics again, and then have him come back and fight in Epic Rising afterwards. I mean, why not?
Exactly.
I'm fine with that. And Christian, you go ahead.
Now, in the interest of time constraints and the fact that we got to keep this shit moving, I'm going to go ahead and spew these next 3 or 4 results in rapid fire format. Y'all ready? Okay.
Yep, ready.
Yeah.
Kyoji Hagiwara knocked out Ren Hiromoto, as we just talked about. 1 minute, 29 seconds for round number 2 via corner stoppage due to a ground and pound. Post-fight interview. Kyohei said, "I felt like a bully. I'm not happy with beating up a weakling," meaning Hiromoto. But real quick, just one question. Do you think that Hiromoto has a future in MMA, and who do you match up Hagiwara against?
Absolutely. I mean, Hagiwara was a veteran who had shown he knew how to utilize the superior rule set and pretty much baptize Hiromoto with the superior rule set with them grounded knees. And a lesser man would have quit and made a mistake in that first round after eating all them grounded knees. And he soldiered through and made it to the second round. Plus, he showed how many times did he stand up? Was it like 5 or 6 times he stood up from the takedown? He showed some good takedown defense, some good, decent grappling, and the ability to stand up. And I was impressed by that. I thought people were being way too hard on him because he obviously he was a J kick favorite, and that's cool. And they wanted him to win and do well, but they had him in there. Hagiwara was way too much of competition for him, just like Takeru was for Ota. So I mean, and just get Hiromoto into the wrestling room, get him some more techniques like the sprawl and a whizzer, and teach him how to. He was getting caught with the trips, okay, but he showed great ability of standing up.
I hate to basically speed this up, but of course we got time to deal with.
Hiromoto, this is an important fight because the J-Kick community likes Hiromoto, so and they want him to win. So I say bring him back, get him in the wrestling room, teach some more techniques, and bring him back because he's got potential and he's going to make the J-Kick squad happy. I believe. Just you can't match him up with veterans. Okay?
I'll say this with Hiromoto.
Andrew, who do you think is more rising word, Ren or who do you think is more rising worthy? Obviously, damn it. What am I trying to ask? Is Ren Hiromoto more rising worthy than what Hagiwara currently is right now?
Hagiwara is a star in the making, and Hiromoto is as well. Hiromoto's ready to start because I got the millions of followers on YouTube, and the 100,000 followers on social media. I think that Ren Hiromoto, again, here's the problem: is that you got to do when Crow Cop went from K1 to MMA, he wasn't trying to do any, he stuck to what he knew best. And that was, knocking out people. Now I know that MMA was a little bit underdeveloped since then, but I think that's what Hiromoto's got to fill the holes in the other one for defensive purposes. He's never going to become a submission artist. I don't think Hiromoto will never be clever koike on the ground, but he's got to fill those holes in and become a fighter who's great. Who uses the shit that he knows standing up, and I think he could defeat people that way. He's definitely, I would put him up against if he I would say Jin Aoi, because I was not impressed with Jin Aoi when he fought Boku, and I think with enough training for maybe another year or two, I think that Hiromoto could defeat Aoi very easily by knocking him out. Hagiwara, star in the making. This guy is one of the most colorful personalities that Rizin has had. I love it. I love his shit talk. I love that he's very confident. I love that he's got the sword tattoo. Whenever he defeats somebody, he did that. If you saw that, I love that little edge that he has. For him next, that's a tough one to make because he did lose to Ishida, so he's a little bit on the. I mean, here's the thing: if you want to do him versus, I know they probably want to put Mikuru immediately into another title shot of Saito, but I would, because of their very, very aggressive alpha personalities, I would love to see Hagiwara and Mikuru as like a number one contenders match. I think that
good idea.
Like an unofficial. I know it's just I love the attitude that he brings. This guy, he never has a boring fight. 100% finishing rates. I love this guy Hagiwara. He's one of my favorite fighters to make his debut in Rizin.
And he shows a willingness to use a superior rule set, throwing stomps in his last KO, and then this one he was beating up Hiromoto with the grounded knees. So I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right, Andrew. He's a star in the making, and I like that matchup with Mikuru. And if it's not for the number one contendership, how about throw him on a Grand Prix and match him up like that? You know me, that's what I love. So whatever you guys want to do, I'm there for it.
Apparently, y'all don't know what the fuck rapid fire means. Y'all think it's slow burn, so I guess
that was an important fight, man. That was the one that J-Kick was all about too, besides the Tenshin fight. So
it was a pretty fun fight. And I gotta have it. I mean, I gotta hand it to you. Hagiwara really did dominate Hiromoto, but in the interest of time, we gotta keep this shit going. So I'm gonna go ahead and name off the next two in the format. Keebler Koike Herbst submitted Kyle Money Aguilar via Bravo choke, 4 minutes and 22 seconds of round number 2. Obviously, Koike winning his Rizin debut. Aguilar drops to 12-9, and obviously that wasn't the worst of the Yamamoto families or the Yamamoto duos losses. In the next fight after that, Yuki Motoya defeated, well, actually, Naoki Inoue defeated Yuki Motoya via sleeper hold 3 minutes into round number one. Naoki was happy for the fan support, and he wants to fight for the Rizin Bantamweight title down the line. And obviously, we all know Ayaka Hamasaki is now the first of two-time Rizin world champions on the night. Obviously, Ayaka submitted Miyu in 1 minute 42 seconds via leg scissors choke to become a two-time Rizin Women's Super Atomweight World Champion. Now, out of those three results that I just jotted down, which one did you think was more interesting? And don't pick the obvious one.
Well, I liked all three of them, and I'll just go with the Kleber Kyoki. He's a contender, instant contender, and even though he lost, he still wins because he got to marry Miyu, and he threw a good. I don't know if you guys saw. He threw a soccer kick that almost took Kyoki's head off. So that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then for the next one, the Inoue versus Motoya. I thought that was very, very impressive. And Inoue is clearly the number one contender, especially with that submission of the submission guy Motoya. So that was a good one. And then, of course, the women's WMA title fight was fantastic. And Miyu, she lost, but she still was good looking and everything. And then Hamasaki looked fantastic, did that leg scissors submission, and it was just great. Like you said, became a two-time champ, and all three of those matches were fantastic. They had Kleber Kyoki. He's definitely a title contender. I can't wait to see him back in the Rizin ring. Inoue, he's number one, established himself as number one contender. Fantastic submission, my submission of the night, I think. And then Hamasaki regained the title. It was a lot of fun. Those three matches were great.
Actually, so I want to just quickly say I take back. For Inoue Motoya, that was probably like the fight out of those three that you mentioned, the one I was looking forward to the most, because it was just like I thought that Motoya was going to win it based on the stand up, and basically that did not happen at all. There was barely any stand up. Like Naoki Inoue, unless now here's the thing. I know that you said he's the number one contender. If they do I think they're going to want to do a rematch with Azakura and Kyoji. I really do think they're going to do a third match. I don't know when, but I feel like Naoki shouldn't have to wait. But let's be honest, that's probably what's going to happen. Naoki Inoue has looked awesome.
Oguchi's going to go to take the Bellator title, and so he's
that's the other thing as well. Yeah, he's got the whole Bellator thing as well. So I think Naoki Inoue will probably have to wait. If I were him, unless he's like, I don't know, like it's like it's always that's the issue with these things. Like if you're obviously someone who's deserving a shot, Naoki Inoue absolutely is. Do you sit back and wait for your chance, or do you take a fight and risk losing your place in the rankings? It's a very tough decision.
Yeah, it is.
You never know. It's like you never know. Like you take a fight in the wrong day, wrong time, and then suddenly your momentum is totally ruined. I would not honestly know what to say about that. For Kleber Koike, this guy, I take it back. I want to see him versus Hagiwara. I think that's a very interesting matchup style wise. And I just think I could see Kleber submitting him, but I could also see Hagiwara knocking him out. I think it's a very interesting fight to make. Kyle Agawan, I don't know what you do with him. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy, but I don't know. First time he's ever been submitted in all of his losses.
One of the very few times he ever got finished.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the fight later, but against Dominator Yamasu, maybe you could do that fight down the line. A loser versus loser. Hamasaki versus Miyu. I mean, Hamasaki is the best atomweight in the world. I don't care what anybody says. That's you can't prove to me otherwise. Even when she lost against Ham, it was a very close fight. And they were going to do a rematch.
Yeah,
and that was going to be like an easy rematch. about with
And you know what? I
vacating
was
title.
wrong for picking Ayaka. I was wrong for picking against Ayaka, to be honest with you.
Well, I definitely feel like Miyu, just because where she started and where she is now is a much more interesting fighter, and I kind of would have liked to have seen her win because the fights that you can make of her, there's she's like the complete opposite. She's like a fighter that like can lose, but she can still win. Like Hamasaki, you put her in 10 out of 10 fights, I pick her all the time. Miyu, you just never know of her because just of how late she started and how her career started and how she's lost. By the way, did you know that Hamasaki learned that scissors choke from Yuki Matoya? Apparently,
No, is that right?
that's what she
Nice.
said. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I agree with Code Mayday that Miyu should not have taken this to the ground. This should have been all stand up. She should have tried to stand up the entire fight, and she could have maybe won that way. But I guess old habits die hard. Hamasaki, I guess we were talking about Kana being the next match. I mean, if that's the only fight that could be made, I like what Dizubeki said. Agawan is a good gatekeeper. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, absolutely a great gatekeeper. He'll win, 2 fights, lose about 4 more. And I think that's his role can be in
Well,
Rizin.
he was a couple inches away from taking Kleber's head off with that soccer kick, and that would have been a finishing strike. So,
absolutely.
I mean, he was right there for the win. I mean, but Kleber, that submission was awesome. He was yelling into the camera. I forget. I seen someone translate what he was saying in the camera. I was just choking him out cold. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was great. Were you screaming Portuguese or something? Was it Portuguese?
Yeah, it was. I've seen somebody translate it, but I can't remember what the translation was.
But that was a good get by Rizin to get him. That was an absolute. I'm glad that they signed this guy's gonna be a force to be reckoned with. And I can't wait to see him get more fights. But with Ayaka, I mean, again, when you see this fight and what she did with Kana the first time, I just don't think that Kana is a good matchup. I don't think it's a match I'm interested in seeing. Anybody
okay, well,
want to
there's a good answer. There's a good answer how to fit. Then just take them all and throw them in another women's Grand Prix. Put Kana and Hamasaki on opposite sides of the Grand Prix, and then if they can make it to the final, then there's your rematch.
Oh my God, you and these Grand Prix.
Oh, I love them. Give me all the Grand Prix, every weight class. I love it.
Now, do you do with the Grand Prix? Do you do the thing that Bellator does? Do you have the champion compete in it as well, defending the title against other fighters,
Absolutely.
or do you just
Why
have
not?
a winner?
Absolutely. Why not? That's not a Bellator thing. That's the Almighty Pride FC thing. They used to have the champion in the Grand Prix as well. And, it's totally fine with me. Do that. And like I was saying, put Hamasaki and Kana on opposite sides of the bracket, and they'll see if they can make it all the way to the final. And then that'd be the way to build up to your rematch. And then if they don't, if one of them loses on the way to the final, then have them fight each other after the Grand Prix. And I mean, there's just the Grand Prix is the answer to everything in my book. Throw them all in the Grand Prix. It's gonna be, let's have
Jay,
some fun.
I'm gonna ask you. Let's just say if they decide to do a rematch between Horiguchi and Kai, what do you do? What would you do if you were Inoue? Do you accept another fight, or do you just wait it out?
Yeah, you know what? Since it's either going to be a rematch with Kai, or what I think they should do is do the Bellator title fight with Archuleta. I mean, that one's going to be fantastic. And so either way, Inoue is going to have to wait another fight. So I don't think that he should sit. Well, it depends on when they're going to do the next fight. If they're going to be for the March 14th Tokyo Dome, maybe it'd be wise to sit out and wait. But I always think fighting more is better than waiting. I mean, because even if he drops his next fight and, as you say, is knocked out of the queue or whatever, he can win his next one after that and get right back into the mix. So I always am for fighting instead of waiting. So, but it depends on when the next fight for Kyoji is. If it's going to be, I'm hoping it's going to be the Bellator one with Archuleta. That's going to be fantastic. And so that happens. And anyway, just if it's right way on March, then go ahead, wait. If not, keep fighting. I mean, keep yourself fresh and keep fighting in there. So you don't get no ring rust or anything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right.
Christian,
do we want to go ahead? Yeah, do you want to go ahead and talk about the next few fights before we finally get to the main event?
Oh yes. Well, the next we'll talk about the next the up to the co-main. And the next fight after this one, after Ayaka, Miyu was Takanori Gomi, former MMA Fireball Kid. Takanori Gomi defeating Koji by majority decision in a custom rules bout. They called it a special standing bout, but basically it was a boxing match. I don't know why they called it anything else. It was a boxing match. And then after that was Mikuru Asakura knocking out Satoshi Dominator Yamasu in the first round, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Head kick and then punches to the ground. And then bringing his record to 14-2, Dominators to 11-6. After that was the co-main of Tenshin Nasukawa returning and getting the big. I think it's now 40-0 in kickboxing. No elbows allowed. Defeating Kumendoi. I can't pronounce his last name again. 3 round at the end of 3 rounds, unanimous decision. And we'll talk a little bit about what happened after that. But Gomi versus Koji. What do you think of this bizarre fight?
It was fun. I had a good time. You know, Gomi's a great fighter. You know, from fan favorite from a long time. So I enjoyed it. You know, and like you say, it was just a boxing match, but it was still pretty fun. He was in there throwing hands still and getting hit. So I mean, it was a good time. I had a good time.
I'm confused.
So I mean,
why didn't they call it a boxing match? Why they just like say all these like weird rules for it?
I know. I was wondering that too. Maybe it has something to do with the boxing commissions or something. They didn't want to make it an actual boxing match. Who knows? But yeah, basically it was a boxing match. But and it was pretty fun actually. I was having a good time with it because I mean they weren't like sitting back and barely striking. You know what I mean? They were punching and getting after it a couple of times, especially in the final sequence and several times there was some big shots landed. So it was pretty fun.
This was. Did you see Gomi pretend that he was gonna hit Koji in the back of the head in the first round?
Yeah. Yeah, he did like a purpose, and the ref even talked to him afterwards. He like swung at him while he was on the ground, but he missed on purpose, and it was pretty obvious. But he still got talked to by the ref. But that was pretty funny.
What do you think of this, Christian? This was a bizarre fight, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that exactly was bizarre, but I think that the right man won. I mean, because you know that if the fight would have had kicks, Gomi would have been knocked out. I mean, I thought that Gomi really did put his best foot forward and, you know, defended all those punches. Now, going down the list, obviously, Mikuru Asakura simply dominated Yamasu. There was just no chance for the Dominator to get a equal ground off of that. And obviously, Tenshin wiped the floor with Kumendoi. I hate to piss off Muay Thai Twitter, but yeah, we all knew what happened in that bout. But going back to the whole Gomi versus Koji fight, I really thought that the fight was a joke, but Gomi really did display those boxing skills in that contest. And I really think that, you know, I'm not saying that exhibition fights are in his future. I'm just saying that potentially this dude could, you know, I mean, I'm saying that this could probably be his future. I mean, I'm just saying that if he plays it safe and he bows out gracefully, his legacy will be kept intact. Let's just say that.
Also, I just want to also bring up that there was a 10-kilogram difference in weight class. Daniel Dizubeki is bringing this up. Gomi was 172 pounds, I think, and then Koji was 143. And they also wore 12-ounce gloves.
Oh, so that was basically 30. That was a basically 30-pound weight difference.
I guess if you wanted to, and they're the same height, by the way, both 5'8". I always thought that Gomi was taller. But I guess I was wrong about that. But I guess the story about this is: did you think that Gomi won at the end? Because Koji, he got a lot of punches in, but I don't know. It was really hard to tell who won by the end of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, were they scoring it with boxing rules, 10-9 each round, or Or was it?
I don't know.
Score
I know
as
it was
a whole, or
it was a 10-point system.
okay. Well, so was it 10-9, 10-point must system?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought Gomi won. I mean, but you're right. It was a close fight, definitely. But it was good.
What do you do with? I mean, I thought they were going to do Koji versus Taiga rematch, and then this came out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know what you do with Koji after this.
Well, I was
He's
seeing,
lost tension.
I thought I saw Kawajiri was talking about to Gomi about fighting again on a tweet or something I was reading. So maybe bring Gomi and Kawajiri in there for a Legends match. You know, who knows? I mean, if he still wants to fight, let him fight. I mean, he was throwing them hands, taking punches, you know, even though I guess Cozy was giving up 30 pounds, but still, I mean, he wasn't throwing slaps. He was throwing punches. So, I mean, it was, let him fight again if he wants to. And if you want to match up Cozy with Taiga again, then go ahead and do that too. I mean, as long as whatever you guys want to do, match them up. Let's get out. Let's have some fun. So I thought they both displayed that they were able to still fight.
Also,
are we talking about the Mikuro fight yet, or?
Yeah, I think we should talk about the Mikuro.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about the Mikuro fight real quick and how he just wrecks the Dominator.
Because that was a fantastic finish. I mean, Mikuro, remember how we were talking about pre-fight that he wanted to come out there and make a statement that his loss to his title loss to Yutaka Sato was a fluke. Well,
and he did.
Exactly. He came out there and made a statement. I'm not going to say it was a fluke because Yutaka Sato beat him, and he got him with he earned his title shot by with that TKO of the year this year, which nobody put in their all these the UFC media didn't even acknowledge, but it was the best TKO of the entire year, Yutaka Sato, and then that's how he earned the title shot to beat Mikuro. And Mikuro, we said he was coming in to make a statement. He sure did make a statement. That was a pretty head kick, high kick knockout. I liked it a lot. It was one of my.
Cop would have been proud. Crow Cop would have been proud.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. Listen, this guy was a former deep featherweight champion. He wasn't champion at the time. He just lost it in his last fight previous to this one. But this guy, he wasn't no slouch. Just that Mikuru is a top level fighter at featherweight. So, I know we talked about putting Mikuru maybe versus Hagiwara. I know that Clever Koike says he wants to fight Mikuru, but I don't know if you want to do that at this time. I think that Clever's got to earn that spot. What do you think, Christian? Do you think who would you put against Mikuru next?
If they want to, I mean, I'm just saying. I think that Mikuru Asakura versus Kleber Koike would be a fantastic fight. However, I don't know if that fight would happen for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I agree.
Well, if we're having problems finding matchups, then you know what the answer is. A Grand Prix, baby. Throw them all in a Grand Prix and let's have some fun.
Will you shut the fuck up about those Grand Prix?
Never. Give me some more Grand Prix.
Well,
every show.
Sorry to interrupt, guys, but I want to know, Dominator, do you bring him back? Is he rising worthy? What do you think, Jay?
Sure, yeah, absolutely bring him back. I mean, why not? I'm all for second chances. So, I mean, you said he was a deep champion, and he had some fantastic highlights. I was seeing somebody post. I forget who it was. Gosh. Anyways, he posted some highlights of him, and he had some nice. He was throwing soccer kicks in deep, I think. So, he knows how to use a superior rule set. So definitely bring him back and see what he can do. See if he can get a superior rule set finish and utilize them pride rules.
You know what I say? They fought twice before with Yamasu with Dominator winning. I have no problem seeing Dominator and Takeru Ishida go at it one more time, but in Rizin this time.
There you go. Book it.
Yeah, Code Mayday says that he's absolutely Rizin worthy. He's a pure action fighter. I do agree. With that. Christian, is Dominator you bring him back?
Yeah, I think you would bring him back. Especially if given the chance to actually showcase his true style.
This is and he also says this is a fight against Hagiwara. Hagiwara versus Dominator is an interesting fight. That would be interesting.
There you go. Book it. That sounds fun. Let's do it. Let's have some fun.
Now the next match, Tenshin Kumandoi. I mean, other than Tenshin dominating, which I think we all expected, but what was the story was what happened after a fight where Tenshin had a face to face with Takeru.
Yep.
So what do you think? Is 2021 the year we finally fucking get this fight?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, hopefully it is. And I was reading some of the post-fight comments from Takeru, and he was saying that there's some kind of big measuring contest going on between the promotions on who gets to have their name at the top of the billing for who puts it on, and he wants to have a third-party neutral platform. I mean, I don't understand why they can't just do it like the Almighty Pride FC and K1 did. They had when they got the 91,000 fans, it was a Pride and K1. They had both their freaking brands up on. Why can't Rizin and K1 do the same thing and do a Rizin and K1 or a K1 and Rizin event? I mean, and just make this super fight happen for the fans. It's going to be awesome.
I can answer that easily. So K1, the K1 now is not the same as the K1 that you're thinking.
Right. No, I get that.
So it's owned by different people, different company. The thing with K1 now is that and I don't know how much I should say, but I'm going to say this, that I did try to we were trying to book interviews with K1 fighters, which we tried to do, is an absolute headache because they treat if you're signed with K1, it's basically like a J-pop or K-pop group where you have to go through managers of K1 before you interview them. They have absolute control over all their fighters. They are very, very strict when it comes to where fighters go, where they promote, who they speak to, and it's a complete opposite of Rizin. Rizin don't give a shit. Rizin, you're legitimately an independent contractor. Where that's but K1, they literally treat them like it's terrible. That's why we never had any K1 fighters. I've tried to get K1 fighters on the show, but we just can't because dealing with K1 is absolutely
it's a shit show.
It is. And so
that's a shame. They should get over that and just
they even tried
both logos on the mat. Have the both logos on the the screen graphics and on the mat, and just have it just get it done. I mean,
what's interesting though is that K1 and Rizin did have an agreement, or they did have a working relationship when Rizin first started back in 2015, because they had Takeru fight. And they had the K1. Remember when they used to have? If you remember the old shows, they used to have the banners. Yeah, and K1 happened to be one of them.
Yeah. I just don't understand why they can't. Somebody's got to give it and make it happen. I mean, I appreciate Takeru's effort and talking about it, and that was obviously Sakakibara's surprise to us, having Takeru there to build up to this fight. So he obviously wants it to happen. I mean, so pretty much from what you're telling me, it's pretty much up to K1 to let it happen, basically, to stop being so controlling or whatever.
It's all in K1's hands. When Rizin, it's not in Rizin's hands. Rizin wants to do this, has been wanting to do it. K1 is the ones who are being difficult. Sorry to say. That's just
then they should stop doing, and they need to make it to where Americans can access their shows. I mean, I want to watch with the J Kick Twitter people whenever there's a big K1 show, but it's so hard that you got to do VPNs and all this other stuff to watch the Bima stream or whatever. And it's like, dude, they need to give us access so we can actually watch and tune in support. And I mean, I want to address that. I also want to address what Marcelo Hendo saying in the YouTube chat, that K1 doesn't want to lose their poster boy. That's true, but Rizin was. I know that Tenshin's technically not a Rizin guy; he's a Rise guy, but he still fights for Rizin. He still fights in Rise, and he's had some tough fights in Rise. But the problem, K1 is so controlling over their fighters. They don't want him going anywhere else. And in fact, actually, going back to Kyoji had to buy out his contract to leave K1 when he did. That's what, according to him. What you're saying though about the shows, yeah, I agree. Remember when K1 K-Festa had their show last year? It was like the one show that was running right when the pandemic was happening. All the other shows were canceled in Japan, America. There was nothing running, and I even said on our review show that they were so stupid
that they did not decide that they should, if they had a fight or something, they could have made they could have gotten a new audience. They could have gotten some good money from overseas because there was nothing else. They were really running against nothing else that weekend, and they chose not to.
Absolutely.
They are so
Absolutely.
insular. They are so insular thinking to the point of just like, they are not on my radar anymore as a promotion. I'll pay attention to the occasional Takeru fight, but I'm not on the K1 boat anymore just because they do not give a shit about anything outside Japan, and they are so difficult to deal with.
Well, I mean, the K1 shows, they have for kickbox, for J-Kick, they have the best Grand Prix format, I think.
They're great. It's just
so,
too bad. It's just too bad that they're so insular thinking. It's really like, it's really, really stupid. You know,
yeah, it just needs to be easier to access to watch for us. I mean, and I would tune in with everybody every time. It'd be fun. So I mean, they're, like you said, they're since it's their fault. I mean, they got to get over that and allow this Takeru Tenshin super fight to happen. I mean, and look at somebody show them some tapes of the old almighty Pride FC and K1 doing these freaking super shows back in the day, selling out 91,000 fans, and say, look, here's the potential of what it could be. So come on, get on board. Let's do this. Get you guys both logos up there, put them both logos on the mat, whatever we need to do. Let's get this done. Let's have some fun.
Question though, before we move on to the main event, Kumendoi, do you bring him back? I don't know.
No.
Maybe against. No. Okay, Christian emphatically no. Jay.
I'm always a second chance guy. So if they have a fight for him, go ahead, bring him back. Otherwise, no, it's fine.
I don't know. Maybe against Kyoji.
I mean, you know what? Let me go ahead and explain why I said no emphatically. Okay. Because the dude is a 140 fight veteran. Actually, maybe 140, possibly 150. Dude's been fighting since he was about knee-high to a grasshopper, as they say. But I don't think you bring him back because this basically was a one-off opportunity for him. I mean, he fought Tenshin. Tenshin whooped his ass. And now Tenshin can go on, do whatever he wants. Well, Kumendoi is going back to Thailand to fight in offshoot promotions and promotions like Max Muay Thai or one of the big three stadium names, Omnoi, Ranjanaderm, and Lumpini.
Well, what about Rise? Can you bring him? Give him like a couple of Rise fights before you send him back there, or what?
Oh, I'm fine with that. Yeah, bring him to Rise.
You can bring him to Rise. I think you can bring him to Rise. But as far as Rising, no, he's done. Ain't no way he's coming back there. It was a one-off for him. He can go ahead and go back to Thailand for all I care. No disrespect, of course. I mean, I know I'm not trying to piss off Muay Thai Twitter. I'm not trying to upset the apple cart when it comes to the Muay Thai fan base. But when you've basically been facing off against grade school bullies and cab drivers all your life, I mean, you're basically going to go back to that eventually.
Oh, I think we're all very. Cole Mayday saying that he supposedly Kumendoi negotiated 2-fight contract. So good. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
If he's comes back, I'm interested to see who they put him up against. But I think we're all positive that Takeru Tenshin can happen this year. If it doesn't happen this year, then then it'll never happen. That's as simple as that. No,
don't say that. It could always. There's always a chance.
But we gotta talk about the main event now.
Here we go. Let's go.
This is the big kahuna. Kyoji Horiguchi reclaiming the Rizin Bantamweight title from Kaizakura by TKO in the first round, 2 minutes 48 seconds. Now he's 23. Kai 16-3. Kyoji
28-3.
Oh, I have 29.
No, I think 29-3.
So I gotta say, I got
basically him coming back into the fold after Kai knocked him out with a little taste of his own medicine, no less.
Jay,
2 minutes 48 seconds to round number 1.
Jay,
but to be honest, I think we were all excited about this fight, were we not?
Yes,
absolutely.
So, but Jay,
and I think that eventually there'll be a chance where Juan Archuleta will have to give up that bantamweight title in Bellator back to Kyoji. Am I right?
Oh yeah, he's still Gucci 2 belts right now. And Archuleta was tweeting saying that, to be the champ, he's got to beat the champ. So he knows what's up. Archuleta knows what's up. He knows that Kyoji, he didn't really lose that title. He vacated it with class, so he wouldn't hold up the division in Bellator. And I'm sure they appreciate that. That's another thing. That's why that Brian Campbell guy and Luke Thomas. This was a freaking relevant fight because that was a Bellator champion in there that's going to be having to unify with Archuleta if he wants. So I mean that just shows it was completely relevant from the start. So that was outrageous that they would even talk about it like that. Just so it's total ignorance. So and this is another time to just beat them over the head with their own ignorance and show them, you know what, it was definitely relevant. It was a lot of fun, and it was for me, it was like opening a Christmas present from Santa basically, and I got exactly what I wanted for Christmas. Kyoji, he's back. He's got his belt back. He's going to get to unify with the Bellator title and become Gucci 2 belts again. And he's already Gucci 2 belts as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. Gucci 2 belts. Not just Gucci 2 belts from Jay Christian. 2 belts 2 times.
That's right.
So here's one of the things we got to talk about the fight. So we saw Kyoji. He wasn't as aggressive at first. He was holding back and using the leg kicks.
Oh, yeah, that's because his corner, Mike Brown, was telling him to do that. I don't know if you heard his corner. He was telling him to, take it easy, do the feints and stuff, and don't rush it.
Yeah, so that was a great plan because we saw that those leg kicks were hurting Kai. Kai was almost on one leg at one point. I think he was on one leg at one point.
Yeah, it got the entire the Japanese Twitter was talking about calf kicks the whole time afterwards.
And and Kyoji got a good punch in, and Kai went down.
He got him on the jumping knee, just like Fedor and Arlovsky, and well, not exactly as awesome as that. There's nothing quite compared to the GOAT knocking out Arlovsky right there, but
so
it was similar type of situation where Kai was coming to jumping knee and Kyoji got him, and then just followed up with a TKO and avenged his L. They took in very similar fashion. I loved how it was like very similar to the L that he took against Kai. He comes back and avenges that L in the same similar fashion. Spectacular
fashion. After that fight, you saw him. He was yelling at the camera, "Easy fight!"
Oh yeah, easy fight. Yeah, it was fantastic. And then he's popping the big champagne bottle for New Year's. That was great. I loved it.
So it looks like they're gonna probably do the Juan Archuleta Bellator.
Excellent. That's what I want. That's perfect.
Do you think that Archuleta is a tougher fight for Kyoji than Darian Caldwell was?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, but
I mean,
it's all going to be tough.
Archuleta, here's the thing, and I hate to interrupt, even though it's kind of my thing. But here's the thing: there's a reason why Juan Archuleta was a 4-division world champion in King of the Cage. And it wasn't because he was facing off against your usual fly-by-night competitor or your Gold's Gym dropout in King of the Cage. He was basically fighting against competition who were on the same level as he was, trying to come up in the state of California or off those Indian reservations. Basically, Juan Archuleta has proven himself to be a real, true caliber fighter, from fighting in King of the Cage and winning those 4 belts to fighting in Bellator and becoming a world champion. And yeah, let's not doubt the fact that this man is a world champion, even though he's a transitional champion for the time being. I think that this fight between him and Kyoji is definitely going to be the talk of the global mixed martial arts sphere outside of those 3 letters that everybody hates.
So the Archuleta match, Kyoji match happens. Whoever wins. Do you then do Kai with the winner of that match?
Yes.
Sure.
Why not? But here's the thing. If that doesn't happen, what's next for Kai? I mean, I just got to ask, do you think that Kai will probably get a tune-up fight, or is he just going to be stuck in title contention until Kyoji gets anything done?
I think he'll definitely get a tune-up fight. I think he's kind of a main eventer for life. I don't know, like it's kind of bandweights of it. If this Bellator thing does go through, though, it kind of does put a little it kind of does fuck up the bantamweight division a little bit, because then you got Kai, who's deserving of a rematch. I mean, because listen, Kyoji and Kai, I think, deserve a rubber match. I think that's fair to say. No, but then you have Naoki Inoue, who's clearly earned, 3-0 in Rizin, 2 finishes just this year. I think that he deserves a title fight as well. But obviously, it seems to be at this level: Juan, Kai, then Inoue. So you have 3 possible fights to make. And also, here's the other thing as well. So let's say if they want to do Juan, Archuleta, Kyoji in Japan, but it's for the Rizin title. In USA, it's for the Bellator title. So then Kyoji is going to be even more booked up, because that's 4 possible fights as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jay? Do you think Naoki anyway is going to get the shit end of the stick with this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much already know he's going to have to wait for the Archuleta match or the Kai rematch. So he's going to have to wait either way. But I mean, so yeah, he should probably take another fight instead of sitting back and waiting. But you never know. Let's see. Are they going to do the Juan Archuleta fight for the March 14th Tokyo Dome? Is it going to be a joint Bellator? Are they going to bring? Is that what Scott Barr was talking about by bringing in foreign fighters? He's going to bring in some Bellator fighters. I mean, I would love that. I hope that happens. And we could also, since there's so many matchups, and instead of having Inoue wait, do my favorite Grand Prix, baby? Bring in some Bellator fighters, do a joint Grand Prix between them two, and let's just have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
Stop with the Grand Prix talk.
Never.
Jay.
Sorry, Jay Christian. The Grand Prix are the best. The best.
I love Grand Prix too, but you don't see me wax nostalgically about it.
I mean, not to be nostalgic. They're doing Grand Prix right now in Bellator, and they did one they do them in Rizin with the women's and the bantamweight one or the lightweight one and whichever one it was. So I hope they do more. Every weight class, bring it. But you got to keep the final in one night. Have the one night Grand Prix final. I love it. The Almighty Pride style. Just every weight class. I love it. Just give me more of them.
But that doesn't mean that. I mean, I hope that Rizin does a Grand Prix this year, not so that you can, calm down about this, but because of the fact that, we can see the best of the best outside that 3-letter promotion we all hate, strut their stuff. But I just don't think that Bellator and Rizin are going to get together and just roll down a Grand Prix right then and there.
Okay, so here's the last question before we go to the final thoughts and all that stuff. Did anyone think this was an early stoppage? I did see some people complain.
It wasn't.
I didn't think it was early stoppage at all. I think they just missed the first strike on the jumping knee. I think they missed that one. They didn't realize that one landed as well as it did. So they were seeing the follow-up strikes for the TKO, and they were thinking, oh, it's early because they missed the one that he got him with on the jumping knee.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was definitely not an early stoppage. Kai was in deep trouble. He was going to take more damage had he been in that position. He was not defending properly. He was in the ropes. He may not have been knocked out, but he was. And also, Kyoji had his knee on him, on his chest or his stomach. He wasn't going anywhere. He was not going anywhere. I'm sure, maybe if it was Mario Yamazaki or Herb Dean refereeing, probably would have let him be a warrior or something. But no, it was like, no, Kai was.
We all know if it would have been Steve Mazzagatti, that stoppage would have been too early to call.
No, it would have been too late. It would have been too late to call if it was Steve Mazzagatti.
I thought it was a great stoppage. I didn't have a problem with it at all. I mean, especially on the replay, seeing that the first punch from that jumping knee counter, and that's what led into the follow-up TKO. So I thought it was a good stoppage.
But overall, great game plan by Kyoji. Slow down Kai with those leg kicks, calf kicks, so that, and then set him up for that knee.
Absolutely,
it was absolutely great plan, and it certainly put the people who are like, oh, Kyoji's gonna, Kyoji might be washed up, ACL injury might have taken a toll on him. It definitely shut up a lot of people who were on the anti-Horiguchi train. And there was a lot.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people.
There's a lot of anti-Horiguchi people? Oh, man.
Yeah, a lot of people like a certain fat slob from Showtime that basically ran his mouth a little too much about, bashing the main events.
But here's my last questions for both of you guys. What was your fight night and pick 2 finishes of the night after you, Jay?
Okay, for my fight of the night, I'm gonna pick the SHIBATAR fight just because everyone has such a good time with that one. Okay, for the other fight of the night, I'd go with I don't know. There was so many to pick from. I mean, this is good, but yeah, I'm gonna do the SHIBATAR for the fight of the night, and then my finish of the night obviously is the Kuramoto Star Kick Pride Rules Superior Rule set finish. I love those, and then the Kyoji Horiguchi getting his Gucci 2 belts back in sensational TKO fashion. And then I don't know, I guess I'd give it to Mikiro for the second finish of the night, best finish of the night, because I love that high kick knockout that he got and showing that, you know what, he's coming back, wanting to make a statement after losing the title, and he sure did he made a big statement in sensational fashion. So then for submission of the night, I'm gonna pick it in a way, his submission over Matoya, that was unexpected. I didn't think it was, like I was saying like we were saying, we thought it was going to be their grappling would cancel each other out and they'd be more striking. So that was pretty impressive to see him submit the grappler. And then for runner-up submission of the night, I'd go with Kyoke and Kleber, because I loved it how he choked him out cold and he was yelling in the camera as choking him out cold. or if you want to do a third one, the Hamasaki leg scissors armbar was pretty sweet too. So, I mean, the whole card was action packed and it was a lot of fun. So there was all kinds of finishes and good fights and just a lot of fun. So,
how about you, Christian?
My fight of the night, it was definitely my fight of the night was Gomi versus Kyoji, because of course Gomi still showing that old man strength. I mean, even though Kyoji had to apologize for the saggy ball pops comments. Yeah, but also my knockout of the night, it was definitely Kyoji Horiguchi. Actually, I'm going to give this to both Kyoji Horiguchi and Mikuru Asakura for their dominance over Kai Asakura and Satoshi Dominator Yamasu, respectively. I mean, still, you just can't top that. And submission of the night, obviously, if you didn't know, now you know, there are two-time Rizin world champions. Ayaka Hamasaki's the other. She dominated poor Miyu Yamamoto, and I hope that Miyu doesn't go back to the drawing board because of this. Because Miyu, I just hope she gets a title. I mean, I just hope that she holds the title one day, actually say to her brother's legacy that it's still alive and kicking. But it wasn't kicking on that night, and I really hope that Ayaka gets that opportunity to fight for the world title again. If it's not long before she turns 50.
My fight night, SHIBATAR versus Hiroya. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Listen, that was
fun.
It was a fun fight to watch, and it was so bonkers crazy. And you're thinking that, oh, who the fuck is this SHIBATAR guy? It's a fucking fool. And then you see he's actually fighting. He's putting on a great fight, and you get behind this guy who's obviously supposed to be outclassed by this K1 former K1 champion, and then he knocks him down. He gets the submission and then gets the official win later. I thought it was a great. I was so entertained from beginning to end with that fight. It's not the best fight.
It was fun.
And again, I have to ask the question, Andrew. If you or I were to fight him, would you give yourself or myself a chance at defeating him?
I would certainly give myself a chance. I'm not going to doubt myself. I guess I'll say the same thing.
Obviously, you're around the same height as him. You weigh a little bit less than him. You have a hell of a lot more of a chance than I do at beating him.
Well, then we'll have to wait and see. Shingo knows how to reach me if he wants to. Send that email to me, Shingo, and I could be SHIBATAR's next opponent.
Oh yeah, you and your jiu-jitsu skills would definitely teach him a thing or two.
But for my knockout of the night, there was a lot of great knockouts. But you know what? I just have to go with Kyoji knockout over Kai, just because the way it was set up, the way and what happened preceding that, and the jumping knee and then the punches on the ground. I think it was absolutely picture perfect. It was beautiful. Does not take away from the other knockouts that happened, but I just thought, I did not expect this game plan from Horiguchi at all, and for this fight to end as short as it did. Submission night, while a scissors choke is cool, I gotta say that Naoki tapping out Yuki Matoya the way he did was, listen, Yuki Matoya, I know that, he got tapped out by Patrick Mix, but I didn't think that Naoki anyway could out grapple Matoya to that degree, and I was just floored by in a way how he set up the rear naked choke from the takedown, from defending that takedown, and how he took his back. I just thought it was absolutely picture perfect, and yeah, he's the official number one contender in my eyes.
Agreed.
And
Okay.
but with that being said,
And one more thing when it comes to final thoughts.
Yeah.
I thought that the return for Rizin English commentary did so well, but I do think that the Live Now platform needs a hell of a lot of work in order to do well in their second try. If they do get a second opportunity at doing this, hell, if they continue to do this, much like how Ever Sport and Fight did before them for English commentary.
oh yeah, just Mr. Trigg, just go to Radio Shack or whatever, or Amazon and buy.
Radio Shack is dead, dude. You're gonna need to go on Amazon or, buy that online or something.
Yeah.
I mean, buy a better mic online or something.
Get a better mic if you can, please, or whatever it was on your end, internet connection. But Jay, I want to give you the opportunity to give your plugs out to the world. Floor is yours.
Oh, for plugs, just I want to ask the world to not listen to people, the UFC media like Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell and all those other UFC media fools that try to dismiss this awesome promotion, Epic Rizin. I want fans to tune in, and it doesn't matter if you're a casual or whatever. I don't care if it's the first time you just started watching. You don't have to be a hardcore to tune in to Epic Rizin and have a good time. Okay, I welcome casuals coming in. I want more people to watch this because I love it, and I have a great time watching with you guys, and it's just a lot of fun. I want to see it succeed, and please don't illegally stream it. Actually support it and buy the official streams and actually support it so we can get more Epic Rizin and more superior rules set and more Grand Prix and just more awesomeness and have a good time and it shows the relevance with Kyoji went in the belt and we're gonna do crossover fights with Bellator. It shows just the total relevance of it and everything, and it's just a lot of fun. I had a great time, and I can't wait for the March 14th Tokyo Dome show. It's just gonna be great, and it was a lot of fun to watch, and I appreciate you guys having me on. I don't like being on camera. I never post pictures or anything like that. I don't even do Facebook. But for you guys, for We Are Rizin podcast, I'm making an appearance for you guys, and I would love to come back again and do a show with like you guys and Teep to the Junk and whoever else. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the people online, the JMMA Twitter fam that watches with us and posts with us and everything. And and if you want to follow me, go ahead and follow me at Jaywolf1 at Twitter, and I follow back. Like I'm not. If you follow me, I'm gonna follow you back if you're a real person. All I gotta see is a comment or two to show me that you're a real person. I'll follow you back, and you're the only people that I care about. They're the ones that follow me, and then I'm following you back, and then we watch these Epic Rizins together. Not like the fake news UFC media that sits there and they'll watch the replay on YouTube and they act like they've been watching the whole time. And you watch when Kyoji is fighting for the Bellator title versus Archuleta, or when even after that, if he goes back to the UFC, those fake news UFC media are going to act like they were watching the whole time. But you guys remember, that they weren't. It was us, the real fans, that were watching with you guys, not the fake news UFC media. So I just want to again give a shout out to you guys. Thank you to We Are Rizin podcast for providing content for Epic Rizin, and a shout out to Epic Rizin themselves for putting on such a fantastic show. And keep doing what you're doing, and please just keep the superior rule set. Don't change. Don't be like ONE FC and wuss out and take away the awesome soccer kicks and stomps. But that's what makes you guys great, okay? And the suplexes and stuff, and keep all that in it. Keep the superior rule set. I love it. It's the best. It is. It's the best. And do the Grand Prix, the one night Grand Prix, all that. It's the best. I love it. So again, thank you very much. You want to follow me? I'm at Twitter at Jaywolf1. And I spell with 2 Y's because that goes all the way back to when I first started posting way back in the Yahoo boards in like 2005 or 2006, whatever it was. And because Jaywolf was taken, so I put 2 Y's. So that's how you know it's me. And you can trace me all the way back to 2005 or 6. I'm commenting. You guys know me. So, I mean, and if you follow me, I follow you back. And once again, just thank you very much. I had a great time, and I can't wait to watch the next shows with you guys.
Thank you so much, Jay.
And don't worry too much about the not being photogenic thing or in camera thing, because in case you haven't looked, I'm not good for being on camera either. I mean, look at me. I barely have hair on my head. I mean, I'm not even supposed to be on camera half the time, but I get what you mean. We may not look TV ready, but we can damn sure talk like we are on TV.
That's right.
And with that, we must bid y'all adieu. For Andrew Benjamin, who's on Twitter at abenja1, I am Jay Christian Gary, otherwise known as the Chillmeister. You can follow me on Twitter at ChrisGary92, and this has been another edition of the We Are Rizin podcast, your source for all things about Rizin, JMMA, or just shooting the shit. You can check us out on Twitter at We Are Rizin Pod, WeAreRizinPod, all in one word. You can check out the show on Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast legally and free of choice. Until then, stay safe, take care of yourselves, keep yourself and your faith first, no matter if you pray for peace or pray to a higher power, because nobody can do right by you other than you. You know, keep all hope alive, don't let it be lost. And as the great Lenny Hart always likes to say, and with that, we out this mug. Talk to y'all later.